Boom. How you guys doing? Welcome. Let me do a little audio and video check.
Introduce.
Good afternoon, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Sipping on some tea. I got several beverages here. Two cups of tea, water, and a little bit of caffeine after. Chamomile and caffeine synergy. Make sure we're good. Water. Amazing. So a couple things, man. Quite a few things that I wanted to show you guys. And we're going to start off first with the Appalachian Trail. Going to give it a minute for everybody to join, to warm up. Please help out with the likes. Get the likes up. It helps out a lot. I kind of took a little break yesterday, because I did a video on Mia, which is like a really sad update. And so if you haven't seen yesterday's video with Mia, definitely after the stream, you can go check that out. And I appreciate the people that supported and came through with that video, because it wasn't that popular, but it did well. And it's just, sad, crazy situation, maintenance guy and all that stuff. Hey, I took a little break, man, yesterday. I had to. I feel a lot better today, well rested. Let me see what I could show you. So the first thing is we're going to talk about this hiker, right? There's a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about this, as well as just recently there was audio that came out, okay, by Fox News where I guess they spoke with the guy as well. And you guys can tell me what you think about that whole situation. So let me first start off here and then I'll bring you to the other stuff. But this person on Twitter said, my husband spoke to Brian last night around 12:30 a.m. on a secluded road along Pigeon River in Tennessee. He called the FBI and 911 immediately. He reported what he was driving and all that he said. He didn't realize it was him until after the fact, but was deaf Brian. So now we got these articles that have come out, right? Hiker has no doubt he encountered Brian Laundrie on the Appalachian Trail. A Florida engineer is adamant he spoke with Brian Laundrie on a deserted road near the Appalachian Trail in North Carolina, which is those, there was a couple of supposed sightings, but there's supposed sightings everywhere of Brian. But so this incident was Saturday morning. Dennis Davis' alleged encounter with boyfriend of slain Long Island Brian comes as police receive tips that Laundrie may be traversing the trail, the world's longest footpath. There is no doubt in my mind I spoke to Brian Laundrie, none whatsoever, Davis, 53, said. Dog the Bounty Hunter's daughter sent me an audio file of Brian's voice, and the voice was the same I heard. A lost and dazed man allegedly waved down Davis on Waterville Road, where the Appalachian Trail runs nearby the border of North Carolina and Tennessee. The Appalachians is understood to be an area familiar to Laundrie, which we've spoke about that previously. He stayed out there supposedly for months before. Previously reported to have once lived there for months by himself. The man believed to be Laundrie pulled his car up alongside Davis to ask for directions to California, only using back roads, and refused Davis' suggestion to take nearby Interstate 40, using only back roads. Davis, a father of four currently hiking in the Appalachian Trail, said the Laundrie look-alike acted skittish and rambled about being in a fight with his girlfriend, which is weird. Davis said he believes if the man was Laundrie, he was wigged out from being out on the run and the situation with Petito. This is like one of his images. Obviously, as a father with a daughter, I want to do whatever I can to help the family find closure and get this guy off the streets. He said, man, I'm lost. I said, what are you trying to find? He said, me and my girlfriend got into a fight, but she called me, told me she loves me, and I have to get to California to see her. I said, well, I-40 is right there, and you could take it west to California. And he said, I'm just going to take this road into California. He was worried and not making sense. Davis did not immediately recognize the man as the fugitive until he pulled over and looked up photos of the outlaw on his phone. The man Davis cited drove a white or light-colored pickup truck resembling a Ford F-150 and wore a dark bandana on his head. Davis is frustrated. 3 calls to the FBI 911 3 calls to the FBI and 911 calls in both North Carolina and Tennessee have not been returned by law enforcement. And this was the whole thing that we talked about as well with Sean Paul Schulte, which he said that sometimes with these tips, they don't even call you back. They don't let you know, hey, we got your tip or anything like that, or thank you or nothing. We're going to hear the audio in a second, too. Just giving a chance for people to join. Let me sip my tea, slow down a little bit. Getting all discombobulated. Despite the road being dark, Davis said the headlights from both idle cars were sufficient to see the man at such close range. Law enforcement is probably getting millions of leads on this guy, but I am not some goofball out there doing substances in the middle of the night. I'm a highly educated professional. And I know that this was the guy. There's no doubt about it. We have this lead, but no one's doing anything, not even a phone call. Laundrie returned to Florida. We know all this stuff already. So let's check out the audio now. It's pretty interesting. I guess Fox News spoke with him. Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm Dennis Davis, and I was coming up from Florida on Friday to go hiking the Appalachian Trail. I got up here to the North Carolina, Tennessee area at about 12:30, so early Saturday morning. I was parking my car at a parking lot where we were going to be leaving a car, and I had passed the parking lot, so I was doing a U-turn to go back to it. And as I was doing that U-turn, a vehicle approached from behind me. The vehicle let me go ahead and finish my U-turn, and as I was driving up to that vehicle, the gentleman in the vehicle stuck his hand out and kind of waved me down. I pulled up alongside of the vehicle. It looked like a Ford F-150 truck. It was white. I was in a car, so I was lower than the vehicle. I rolled my window down, and I started talking with the gentleman. I could tell right away that something wasn't right with him. It took him a second to get anything out, and then he said, "Man, I'm lost." And I thought, I was kind of lost myself. I thought maybe he was another hiker looking for the same parking lot. And I said, "Well, I'm not from around here, but what are you trying to find?" And he said, "Man, I need to go to California." And I was like, "Wow, well, I don't know the directions to California," but he said, "Yeah," he said, "Me and my girlfriend had a fight, and man, I love her, and she called me, and I need to go out to California to see her." And I said, "Well, man, I-40 is right there." We were right next to I-40. And I said, "You can take I-40 west and it'll get you to California." And he said, "No," he said, "I think this road that we're on, I'm just going to take it to California." And that was Waterville Road. When I got off the phone with FBI, I looked at some more pictures, and I saw a profile view of Brian. And that's how I was kind of looking at him, because he was in his truck. So most of the time I was seeing the side of his face. And when I saw that profile view, I was like, I'm absolutely 100% sure that was the guy. My heart was thumping. And I immediately called the FBI back, and I said, "Listen, I just called you guys, but I'm telling you, this was the guy." And so the lady, first time I spoke with a man, the second time was a lady. She again took my information. I was sitting there in this parking lot. I'm like, "What do I do now?" And I was like, "Well, no one's calling me." So I called 911. At that time I was in Tennessee. So I got the Tennessee 911. I called and spoke with the operator there. She took my information. Again, nobody was calling me back. I'm, sitting there for an hour now. And so I got in my car, and I actually drove back by the site where I had saw him, just to see if I could see him again. At that time I was in North Carolina. So I picked up the phone and called 911 in North Carolina.
And where's the rest of it? That's it. Fox News, just like they released part of the 911 call, not the full one. I don't know what's up with that, why they do that. So I don't know, man. This is one of the latest sightings that's kind of picking up, and a lot of people are talking about it. It's going on the news, headlines. The Appalachian Trail. Now, with Dog the Bounty Hunter, there's a couple things I wanted to show you. Dog the Bounty Hunter. He posted this on Twitter. The search has continued throughout the weekend on the islands off the west coast of Florida. We play this clip. You might have seen this. Maybe you haven't. Thank you guys for coming by. Please hit the like button. I'd appreciate it.
First, make sure it's not too deep because your camera's more important than I am.
Hey, can you push the boat over so dog can get through there?
I got it.
All right. If you want, I can hold your camera while you jump in if you are jumping in. If not,
Yeah.
Taser good? Not getting wet?
Yeah, I hope so. A little bit. I jumped in this 5 foot.
I'll tell you what,
These are on one of the islands. Well, I mean, what do you guys think about this whole the island search thing? I was talking to a friend, and he's like, he doesn't think he's on one of these islands. He thinks like Brian's maybe in a home, in a house somewhere, somebody's helping him.
just follow my path so you don't fall in any holes.
I'm going to throw my phone over to you.
Getting dirty.
Hey, you should be good with the depth. It's only about 2.5 feet.
I'd go in there too. That was a clip from earlier. I wanted to show you this clip too that kind of goes together with it as far as the search and all that.
Thanks, Pete. As more search crews join the manhunt for Brian Laundrie, our next guest says Dog the Bounty Hunter may be sniffing around in the right place. Peace River K-9 Search and Rescue President Michael Hadsell joined the famed bounty hunter search.
Thank you for the super chat, Lillian. Thank you, Timothy and Ronnie, for the membership. Appreciate that.
In Fort De Soto Park and says there are promising clues that teams are closing in on Laundrie's whereabouts. Let's bring in now Michael Hadsell for the latest on the search for Brian Laundrie. Michael, thanks for being with us this morning. So what have you seen? What clues are showing up that you might be on the right trail for Brian Laundrie?
Well, I wasn't out there the last couple of days. We were called off onto another search that we were assisting on Alzheimer's victim recovery, which was successful. However, out there they're checking all the islands where he could be and searching for any clues that he's out there. They're checking any encampments that are found. We are using K-9 to clear the islands and make sure that he is or is not there.
So that's in Fort De Soto Park. You said there's islands out there to check. So I assume there are plenty of hiding places, plenty of little remote areas for him to disappear into. What do you make on the other hand? And I think Dog the Bounty Hunter has guessed this could be true as well, that he might be somewhere on the Appalachian Trail. There's a report of a hiker who thinks he encountered Brian Laundrie on the Appalachian Trail. What do you make of that lead?
Well, it's as with all leads, they have to be prioritized and worked according to their credibility. And I'm sure there's already a team up there working to see if he's up there and if that lead is credible.
But right now, you have information, or you've been a part of, or aware of the information when it.
And I think there is a bounty hunter. I can't remember his name. That's out there in that area. I thought by the Appalachian Trails.
Comes to Fort De Soto Park. So how do you use dogs, actual dogs, not Dog the Bounty Hunter? How do you use the dogs to help track him down in a potential location like Fort De Soto Park?
Well, around Fort De Soto Park, there's there's one big island and several little islands, and some of those are wildlife bird sanctuaries, and we don't want to be trouncing through there, disturbing the wildlife, destroying bird nests and things like that. So the canines that we use are trained to work from the boat. They're trained to work on human scent, and we will work them around there. If they detect anything, we will go in and find out what it is, and they have worked successfully, locating some camps that we've been able to find on some of the smaller outer islands.
In order for a dog to use the trail sniffing to find Brian Laundrie, they have to have an original scent, right? Have they been able to, I know the family hasn't been totally cooperative, have they been able to find something to work off of?
Well, no, in this case, there's two ways to work the dog. One is either what we call specific scent, which is where we have a targeted odor from the victim or the person that we're looking for. The other method is what we call general human scent, because humans all carry certain common odor traits that the dogs can distinguish. And we're using them in that mode right now. And basically these islands are not big. They don't require a huge amount of people on them, and there shouldn't be any people on them because most of them are off limits. So if there is a person in there, it's unique. So the dogs alerting on a general human scent will allow us to go in and check it out.
I see. All right.
It's pretty interesting. The other day, too, when we saw Brian Enton talking with Doug the Bounty Hunter, they said that they actually encountered somebody out there, but, you know, he wasn't related to Brian. I'm not surprised. I think that there is going to be way less people out there, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple of people just living off grid or just taking their boat and going out there. Heather Douglas, thank you for the super chat. Look up Ryan Upchurch theory about the RV park. I don't want to play people's YouTube videos because I don't want to I don't want to have to deal with copyrights and stuff like that. I don't know who's cool with what. So. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, here. That's what I wanted to show you guys before I move on to the next thing. This was also posted, but this is what you see somewhat in the thumbnail. Do these images look like the same person? Bald white man everywhere. This one, I believe, originally was from the street behind the Laundrie home where they thought they spotted him. And then this one, I'm not even sure where that came from. Alternative NOAA says someone that looks like him is wanted by federal law enforcement. One of the photos were taken a few hundred meters from that person's residence, and the other is about 13 kilometers from the residence and about 2 weeks apart. I don't know. Bald white men everywhere. Everywhere. But there's this person on Twitter. I guess he went out to the islands and he found some stuff. I pulled up I downloaded the images so I can get it on full screen for you guys. A little bit better. But this guy went and found like what looks to be like where somebody could, I guess, sleep. You know, it's an interesting image. And I'm really, you know, these kind of things, they're probably going to be around the island like that. It's not that crazy, I would say. Another kind of close up here. I mean, it doesn't look that comfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's old. But it's interesting. Here's another image as well. I guess the guy's just laying out on it. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe seeing how trying it out himself. So there's other people that I guess have headed out there to the island. He also posted a follow-up post and said, FBI said that since I didn't personally see Brian, that they can't use this as evidence, but canines did hit very hard. So I guess maybe they had canines as well out there. And you are going to find things like that everywhere when you go to any of these places in Florida. Trash, cups, clothes, shoes, little campsites, whether they're old or new. The only good thing about that area, I would say, it's probably maybe kind of easy to search because you're not really going to encounter much people just because of the water thing going on, the island thing. Now, this is Gabby's mother. She made a Twitter account, said Mama Bear is getting angry, turn yourself in. So she has an account. She posted 23 hours ago. This is the stepmother. This is Jim Schmidt. So they're pretty active on Facebook if you're interested in following them. Okay, so let's get a little bit into Cassie, the whole situation with the sister and that whole interview and people talking about a contradiction because allegedly it was stated that she hasn't spoken to him since he's gotten back or one time, but she went to this camping trip on one of the days. And JB said that supposedly Good Morning America did an interview update. Good Morning America has restored the link and published a modified video report of the original Cassie Laundrie story. And they removed this specific line by the reporter. She hasn't spoken to her brother since he returned to his home in Florida. So they have the original one and they have the new one. So let's listen to the new one, and then we'll listen to this little.
Petito, but a member of his family is finally speaking out.
Me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding. I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information, or I would give more. This is all I have is I gave to the police.
And I guess what's just kind of, as his sister, the oddest thing to you about all this? If you had to...
That I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him.
He just doesn't want to say anything to anyone.
This interview was after the camping trip.
I know that it's all because the lawyer's advising them not to say anything.
These body camera images show the couple just days before Gabby went missing. Officers responding to a 911 call over an argument between the two near Arches National Park in Utah.
What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm just trying.
So I guess they fixed the portion where the reporter's like, she hasn't spoken to her brother since he returned to his home in Florida. I don't know. It's very weird, and it's kind of odd that they went on this, to this trip in Fort De Soto after he comes back without Gabby. Now, I just wanted to talk about this really quick as well, and then we're going to get into the neighbors. There's some drama with the neighbors, and I wanted to kind of include that in this live stream. First, somebody sent me this YouTube account. It's like, look, yo, Brian Laundrie, yo, he made it. He uploaded the video too. I looked at this immediately. I'm like, nah. So what this person did, right? Look at this. He's already laughing. Well, free on YouTube. He's going to Washington, D.C. All he did was re-upload the video 2 weeks ago. And the video re-upload, he puts his Cash App. All right. Puts his Cash App there, well, free. And on the main page, if you go to home, it looks like this is, he posted this originally as well or whatever. All he did was put it as a featured video. So for people that don't know how YouTube works and all that stuff, this is not Brian Laundrie. And I think most people would know that, but some people don't know the technicalities and stuff like that, or they may be confused. So he featured the original video. Then this person uploads the video 2 weeks ago, puts their Cash App, and now they come out and stuff like that. Not Brian, all right? I guess we should segue into the trolls thing before we get into the neighbors, right? Let's do this because this is a good segue. I saw this kind of the other day.
I believe after covering the story of Gabby Petito and the hunt for Brian Laundrie, that we would discover all of this cruelty online.
And there's a bunch of trolls everywhere online. I mean, they've always been there, right? But I guess it's so easy to trick people. Even those false Gabby Petito accounts, they just put an extra O or like a little underscore or something. Like, oh, it's Gabby. No, it's not.
Not towards Brian, the man who is on the run. Let's not forget, is a fugitive from justice. Let's not forget, who decided to just drive Gabby Petito's van back to Florida without Gabby, who was lying dead in the desert. Let's not forget. No, we found loads of supporters for that guy. That guy.
I'm telling you, that's why when we took the calls, I was like, there are people that's trolling, but then there's other people that I think kind of legitimately maybe are on his side.
And so I want to read for you a couple.
But some people just want the attention,
A couple of things that we, dug up. If you're, sensitive, you better turn the volume down. That's all I can say. So a couple of folks in these forums said Brian will be remembered more than Gabby. Isn't he a victim of violence too? Baselessly, they question whether Petito maybe just died of COVID. That's probably it. That's why it takes, 12, 13 days now to get a cause of death. Then there was...
and we're going to watch an interesting thing, too, about the autopsy, in that they might not release it for now. You know, they might want to talk to Brian first. They might want to use it for other reasons instead of just releasing it to the public.
The groups who said that Brian's just misunderstood and that he's being unfairly maligned. That's another one. Brian Laundrie is a victim of domestic abuse who is being unfairly maligned. Here's a good one. Did Gabby assault Brian because he was Hispanic? I don't even know where to begin on that one.
And you're kind of feeding into it a little bit just to post this on like national news, I guess. I mean, I know it's News Nation, but it's kind of, this is what they want to. They're probably like laughing and cackling. Oh my God, we're on the news, you know?
There is the user who decides to call Gabby Flabby Gabby. There's the user that calls her a white supremacist. Again, I don't even know where to go there. And I already mentioned the one that said, "Run, Brian, run." Still with me is Chris Mohandy, he's PhD, forensic psychologist. He's worked for the LAPD as a threat assessment expert. I still can't wrap my head around it. When I found out that Shanann Watts, her family has been mercilessly trolled since Shanann was killed, murdered by her husband, Chris Watts. Those two children of hers, she was pregnant, by the way. Those two children of hers murdered by their dad and stuffed into oil tanks. It's Shanann's family who has spent the last 4 years trying to get the trolls off their backs. I just wonder if they've always been there. Have they always been there, Chris? And now we're just seeing it because you can type and you can publish? Or are we an angrier, more screwed up America?
I think it's probably in all of the above, Ashley. I think there's always been people with dysfunctional ideas and a tendency to go for conspiracy theories or to root for the so-called underdog. But until the advent of, an instant community, that goes worldwide in relative anonymity, you didn't have the ability to get a bunch of people high-fiving you for these kinds of ideas. Once we have people online in
Strange, thank you for the super chat. Says they should warn people about the fake account, but why is she giving them screen time? Well, that's the only thing. Maybe they should have blurred it out too, I think, because they're definitely getting attention from it.
On social media, you can get validation for just about anything as extreme and dysfunctional as you can imagine. So I think they've been there, but we're seeing more of them because communities can be created virtually to support, accept, and encourage anything, which is why there's so much needs to be regulation of what goes on these social media platforms. These people need to be shut down. And
let's
there's no
clear,
value
as we see
for
these
these
images,
conspiracy
Chris.
theories. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
the pictures on the screen, and let's be clear that, Gabby Petito admitted to having, hit and slapped Brian as well, but he's not dead and she's not on the run. So there's a huge difference. So those who are so myopic as to say these things, like he's a victim, when he's on the run as a fugitive from justice currently, and she is dead in a coroner's office for 2 weeks. Quick question, and I just need a quick answer if you can. The word incel.
The incels.
Involuntary celibate. That's something that's starting to become part of our vernacular. Give me like 30 seconds on what it actually means and who these guys are.
I missed the question. Could you repeat it real quick?
Yeah, the word incel, I-N-C-E-L. It stands for the involuntary.
I remember one time, that's a serious community too, the incels. There was this video I made a while back where somebody exposed this website where a bunch of weird people were taking pictures of people's kids, either taking pictures themselves or taking it off of people's social media, and they were uploading it to this website. And so this woman, she made a video to try to expose it, to try to get it shut down. And I made a video on it as well because it pissed me off that, like, for all this censorship and all these things that are going on to a lot of people, you can literally type the website and it's like the first at the time, it was the first Google search thing that popped up, like aggregated. And I'm like, why is this over here at the top? That's kind of weird. So I made a video about it. And during the video, I somewhat slyly or somewhat jokingly, just tongue in cheek, I said, you know, these incels on this website are weird as hell. You know, I got an email from an incel. He was really offended by that. He said, we're not into that. It's not us. They're like a serious ass community, and they're online and stuff. They might be watching now too. I don't mess with the incels, man.
Involuntary celibate, and apparently they've got quite a
They're involuntarily celibate. Or voluntary or involuntary. I don't even know.
little INCEL. It stands
Probably involuntary, right?
for the involuntary celibate. And apparently they've got quite a little community online where they really are filled with misogyny and hate and attack women every chance they get, including Gabby Petito. Who are they?
Yeah, these are angry, disaffected men who hate women and believe that they're entitled to have any kind of relationship of dominance related to women. They are a very potentially dangerous group of people. The guy that shot up Santa Barbara, I don't even want to mention his name. He is considered a hero within the incel so-called movement. This is a group of really angry,
I don't think you want to mess with the incels, man.
dysfunctional men who don't have any basis for understanding how it is you relate to the opposite sex, you know, from a platform of equality, from a platform of respect. And they are very disrespectful, angry, entitled people who, you know, we have to watch this group very carefully within the field of law enforcement.
Damn, is that serious? I don't know. I don't know too much about the incels, but I know they have this like a really serious community and supposedly involuntary celibacy or whatever. I don't know. Weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. So let's talk about, oh, you know what? Let me segue into one quick thing and then we'll get into the neighbors just while we're here. There was this whole drama, okay? Thank you, Glenn, for the super chat. Did you know that the FBI does not, as a rule, investigate homicides? 1% of their cases are murders. Absolute fact. Interesting. Didn't know that. Didn't hear about that. Okay, this whole thing with this account on Twitter, there was a whole big drama thing. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but they, you know, apparently people thought this guy was Brian Laundrie. I had gotten a lot of messages about it. People felt that it was him. I was always skeptical because I just don't see this guy, Brian Laundrie. Not that he wouldn't be on social media, but if somebody supposedly exposed him, that is going to be actively responding back and actively responding to people and even tagging like the FBI and like, oh, come look me up, come do this and that. This whole situation got so messy that apparently there's a YouTube channel that got terminated. I don't know if it's exactly for this thing down here. Interview room got terminated. The thing with me though, he may possibly get his account back. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Probably not over the weekend because I don't think all those people are in there, YouTube, over the weekend like that. He may be able to appeal it. You know, I don't know if he was mass flagged. Sometimes I've seen cases where people get mass flagged and they can get taken down depending on the situation. The other thing too is if you get mass flagged and you are doing something wrong, then you may not get it back. I've seen that as well. I've seen it both sides. I really think that he should have left this alone after he did the one video or two. I don't know how many videos he did, 2 or 3 videos. I think it should have been the first one. Okay, that's it. This is what I think. Boom, move on. But the one night before or the night of the termination, I think somebody sent me a link. They're like, there's a live. He did this presentation and timeline, timestamp, everything was like professional. And I was like, should just leave it alone. Report it if you believe that's Brian, report it to whoever, make the video, move on. Because here's my thing too, what I think YouTube is taking the whole bullying thing very like serious or whatever, or cyber. And I'm not saying that's what Chris was doing because I didn't watch all the, you know, I didn't see what exactly he was doing. I just know that people were messaging me about this. Oh, you got to see this. This is Brian. This is Brian. This is Brian. And I did a little search myself on the address. I couldn't link it to this account personally. People say he has other resources. I don't know. But you build a case when you're doing something against somebody, not like how we're covering Brian Laundrie and this guy's on a run, but like personally, and you're doing something back to back to back to back to back, you're kind of building a case for like bullying or something, you know? It's kind of dangerous. I saw something with Keemstar and saw the guy named H3H3. That whole situation got so messy that advertisers were pulling out. It got to YouTube's attention and they were told like, you have to stop this or it's going to be a problem. You guys are going to lose your accounts. And so I don't know, you know, I don't wish for people to get terminated. It doesn't like, you know, saying building up something just to lose it all. And he might get his account back. I don't know. You know, I have no idea what's going to happen with that. But that whole situation from beginning, when I saw this crap, I was like, this thing is a mess. I mean, I even think I titled the video the Twitter drama or something like that. I don't even want to get close to this because I'm not even about that. But it made me think and kind of reflect a little bit that I need to be, and not just me, like all creators need to be a little bit mindful and kind of careful with some of these situations. And this guy in that Twitter account, he knew what he was doing as far as tagging YouTube on Twitter and stuff like that. So again, I haven't watched the videos in his claims. I just saw the small minute one. Then I think there was a live stream one. And then I think there was another one after, maybe 3. I don't know. But you know, he could come back. I don't know. So just be kind of careful. And with that, oh, I was supposed to do that earlier. Oops. We'll get to that after. Let's talk about the neighbors. The neighbors and the craziness going on. And so you guys remember this whole fight situation, right? Let's play some of this video.
You ain't no sleuth. You can sit here all you want with your megaphone. I don't care. But you come on my property again. I'm gonna beat you.
You're going to prison, buddy.
Okay?
You're going to prison. Call 911. You're going to prison.
Call 911.
You're going to prison.
This ain't you.
You're going
This ain't you
to
on my
prison.
Sorry, you guys got assault. Shut up. No, that's not you right there. Ooh. Good.
Charges on you,
Don't
pal.
come on my
Charges. The whole world's watching you. You just assaulted me on camera.
Insanity. I think on the weekends, it's this. I don't know when this was. This was a couple of days or something ago. Everything in my head is all looped out right now as far as time. But on the weekend, it's usually kind of empty out there. I heard this weekend there's people out here protesting and also at Cassie's protesting.
You're going to jail. You just assaulted me on camera. You just assaulted me on camera. You assaulted me on camera. You are going to jail. I'm pressing charges.
So that whole situation was a mess, right? And we saw that from one perspective. And then I came across this. And there is a GoFundMe. And this is the neighbor that says he was protecting himself. Let me just read it. And I don't want to play his video. I'm just going to skip around a little bit to show you, because I don't want to deal with the copy stuff. But he says, "Hi, my name is Angelo, and I am a United States Marine Corps veteran who suffers from anxiety and depression. I was arrested for allegedly pushing and yelling at Jonathan, a known alleged felon on probation and fraudster. He has filed thousands of unwarranted lawsuits and came our property without permission and proceeded to take pictures and videos again without permission. He and his cohort then proceeded to our front window, which is out of view of the cameras, and tried to peep in our home while my soon-to-be wonderful stepson was home alone playing video games. When I was told what he was doing from a neighbor and saw the footage, I immediately went to the Northport Police Department and reported him and asked for a no trespass order to be issued. I told the officer that he would be outside Brian Laundrie's house from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. yelling on his bullhorn, just like every day for the past 2 weeks. They never did. The next day, I spoke with another police officer and requested that they issue him a no trespass order. Still nothing, even though the police had a strong police presence in our neighborhood, sometimes only a few yards away from Jonathan and his bullhorn. During those 2 days between when I reported him to when I finally got frustrated and confronted him myself. This man, Jonathan, has been posing around the neighborhood as a private detective hired by Gabby's parents and a news reporter. Oh, it's a lot. Oh, almost done. Okay, where did I leave off at? Okay, there we go. My bad. I myself have served honorably in the United States Marine Corps, have lived in Northport for 14 years. I had a clean record besides one DUI in 2000. I was a volunteer coach, youth wrestling in Rhode Island, as well as Northport. I have been a volunteer cook for Meals on Wheels in Northport. I have been a productive member of society. Thank you for taking the time to read. If you're still on the fence, I invite you, when you're done reading this, to Google my name and Google his name and see what comes up. The money would be used to protect my rights from this fraudster and Peeping Tom, allegedly. I believe his followers are still trying to have this GoFundMe removed. So I wanted to show you some parts of this to be fair across the spectrum, because I didn't know about this until I saw this, like, I don't know, a couple of days ago. And I was like, holy crap. Holy crap. Okay. So I guess these people, let me get a bigger screen, kind of walking around the neighborhood, taking pictures and video. I'm not sure why. And I was wondering as well, too, when I saw this, I'm like, do they have prior issues to this? The whole Brian Laundrie thing, like, did they have issues before this? Is this why this is going on? I mean, and you can do this if you're on the street, but check out what happens. Just fast forward a little bit. They walk past, then they come back, right? He's still fine. This is weirdo stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I have my kid in my house, my daughter, she's not with me now. I dropped her off a little bit ago. But I'm going to be a little creeped out if you over here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you all right? Plus, this is Florida, bro. I mean, obviously they know, but be doing that weird stuff. So I don't know if he had a reason for doing this. Kind of strange, though. Then he proceeds to come onto the driveway. And it's like walking up. Bruh. You know? And then he, like, literally, I guess, let me see here. That's weird as hell. By the way, this is fair use too. I'm pausing, talking, commentary. But I wanted to kind of share this guy's story as well, the other perspective, because I was like, damn, yo. Ooh, that's kind of weird, man. So I'm going to put the link to his GoFundMe. I'm not signed in, but just if you know, if you want to take a look at the video yourself, or you want to go read for yourself or whatever. But seeing that too makes you wonder, did these people have prior issues, you know? I'm just adding that to the list. And this is the thing too, I'm thinking people are on edge. A lot of people are on edge. People are, you know, especially probably the neighbors. And I get this is about Gabby and getting attention and the Brian thing. But there's people there, like this guy said, he's a veteran, you know, and some people with that noise all day long, it's going to maybe trigger them. Maybe people have kids. I used to work graveyard. So if I work graveyard, that would be pretty frustrating. And this was yesterday, apparently, too. Protesters outside laundry homes cited by cops for using loudspeaker. Yeah, oh, yeah, I saw the guy. I didn't even realize that they had like this whole device on the ground. Protesters outside Brian Laundrie's parents' home were handed citations Saturday for being too loud. A small group used a speaker and I'm not even going to try that, to cajole the parents of Gabby Petito's fugitive boyfriend. crowd is going to grow from here. Laundrie family, we're not going to quit. It might be a bigger crowd, and I heard they were at Casey's house as well. A short time later, 2 uniformed police officers spoke to the group. You have to have a permit from the city in order to use a loudspeaker/PA system out here, especially when it pertains to residential area. One of the cops was recorded telling the group. He explained the citations escalate if they persist. The first line is $50, the next one is $150, and then it goes on to $500 and any third subsequent offenses. Which I wouldn't be surprised if they just started GoFundMe. GoFundMe for the loudspeaker. 50, 150, that's it? 100? Okay. Loudspeaker GoFundMe. Ruiz posted that neighbors are fed up with the protesters, some of whom maintained a presence at the house for weeks. Let's check this out real quick. Multiple Laundrie neighbors said they're fed up with the protesters. We hate them as much as we hate the Laundries now. Damn. One homeowner tells Fox News, another says he's undergoing chemotherapy and the ruckus is disrupting his wife's work from home. So I don't know. People are on edge. It doesn't surprise me to see that this other guy, that whole situation happened. It's a good thing he had cameras at least, but he was arrested. So I don't know if he's going to be able to, you know, maybe try to fight it or whatever in court. Oh, he did an update today as well. A TikTok video. Now, I'm going to screen this real quick because I don't want personal information if I can help it. Yeah, I mean, he just pulled up his record. I barely can. It's public information, but it's not really anything to see. No music. So that's that whole situation. It's a mess. So I really just kind of encourage people to be careful, be safe. Whether you're a neighbor or you're somebody going out there, everybody's on edge. I get it. You don't want to catch a case, though, you know? Oh, the other thing, too, this one had music on it, so I don't want to play the music. Supposedly, I guess today, right? This is from today. I don't know when this is from. Supposedly, they're claiming that there was moving trucks out there. I don't know how true this is. I'm going to just say this is unverified. Somebody sent this to me. Supposed moving trucks. Maybe the neighbor's moving out. Maybe they're just so tired and fed up that they're getting the hell out. Okay, 2 other things that I wanted to touch on. Let's see. The Cassie stuff. Oh, this has information about the neighbors as well. Is this old? Kind of old. Ooh, Lord. Okay, seeing at Laundrie. This was 5 hours ago, but it goes well with what we're talking about. Seen at the Laundrie house right now, a few protesters and police monitoring the situation. Things is getting crazy out there. It's on edge. It's been on edge.
What's the matter? Were you jealous of Gabby? Because she loved life and she was so pretty? Or was it because her family were Republicans?
What? Yeah, we don't have to block people if they curse. If it gets through the system, it gets through the system. It's okay in the chat. You know, just don't be saying like really, really, you know, whatever.
Or was it because her family were Republicans? Dirty laundry has some horror. You guys look so normal from the outside. You guys are cracking. And you guys have been exposed for the criminals.
All right, so let me show you. I wanted to read this. We got this clip here. Close this out. All right, and to move this along. Okay, we'll take a look at this one a little bit. Let me get the super chats though. Oh, and moderators, if you can, on Discord, I'm making a moderator group, like a chat, just for mods, because I want to get everybody in sync with the rules and people so you guys can communicate to each other, because I wanted to get it a little bit organized. So join Discord if you're a moderator, and there's a moderator chat, and I'm going to put the guidelines in there so we can get a little bit organized and have like the same expectations, kind of, you know? All right, let's see the super chats real quick. Okay. Strange says they should warn people about oh yeah, I did read that. Thank you, Strange. Glenn, did you know? I did read that. Roxanne, you're awesome. You don't play games and report facts. Thank you. Dan, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Lauren, Stucken. I hope you're doing good. Thank you for the super chat. Melanie, fake news the worst. Thank you. B. Shelligan, thank you for the super chat. Strange, is he taking pictures or what? Or was he living? What? Is he taking pictures or was he live streaming? It seems like he's talking. I don't know. He walked up to the house though. Momo, we'll talk about that after. Thank you for the super chat. I want to get all you mods in the Discord, please. And I'm gonna fix it up a little bit so we can talk about that. Joyce, thank you for the super chat. Alicia, he is the one who has the video of Brian jumping over the fence minutes before police arrive. Parents lie. Check into it. The guy that Jonathan you talking about? That's interesting. Penelope, I've said it first and I'll say it again. His parents leading cops to the swamp was a major decoy, goose chase. He's far from Florida at this time. Gerald said, would hate to live in that neighborhood. Right. There was a video that I had. I want to show you guys, but I lost it. Some FBI thing. Let's see if I can get it. Lost track of it. Let's hear this in the meantime.
Was ABC News.
Okay, yeah.
And she said those words that she hadn't been. Brian, let's talk about the significance of Brian Laundrie's sister, Cassie, because on the 17th of September, she gave an interview to ABC and she said those words that she hadn't been able to talk to her brother. Walk me through why this is so interesting now.
So first of all, Ashley, I want to say that we have all been trying to talk to Cassie Laundrie. We all tried to interview her. The only person she talked to was ABC News. And when she did that interview last month, she said that she hadn't talked to her brother. And ABC News reported she had not talked to her brother since he returned to Florida without Gabby. So that was what we were sort of under the assumption of for the last several weeks. Well, now we have learned from the Laundrie family attorney, Mr. Bertolino, according to him, he says that that is not the case, that Cassie has actually seen her brother 2 times. The first time on September 1st, when the attorney says that Brian went to Cassie's house and met with her. And the second time is September 6th, when Mr. Bertolino says Cassie was at that campground where Brian and his parents were, Fort De Soto, where the entire family was having a camp out.
Even with the Good Morning America fix of the taking out what the reporter said, she did at least see him and speak to him 2 times, according to this new information that's come out, which they say supposedly law enforcement is aware of.
All right. So in that light, Brian, I want to play that really significant piece of Cassie's interview. Here's the rub. I can't find anywhere online. All of our producers have looked everywhere online through ABC's websites for the actual transcript and the actual raw interview. There are pieces and snippets, and I'm going to play you the snippet. There is no question from the reporter included, so I can't give you that. But here is the reporter who asked questions of Cassie Laundrie on the 17th of September. And this was her answer about not having been able to talk to her brother. Take a look.
I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him. And I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information where I would give more. This is all I have is I gave to the police.
Okay, so Brian, the statement that Steve Bertolino, the family lawyer, gave to you was two-part. We had just showed that first part that said Cassie saw her brother Brian on September 1st when he stopped by her home, and again on September 6th at Fort De Soto Park. And then it went on to say this: law enforcement agencies are well aware of these dates. Any prior communication by Cassie that does not reflect these dates is simply a difference of relating an answer to a question misinterpreted by Cassie or poorly posed by the inquirer. So we're now to take the words of Cassie, which are, "I haven't been able to talk to him. I wish I could talk to him," as either a bad question from the reporter or a confused answer from Cassie. Either way, I don't know how much more clear.
That's what I'm saying. I think even with the removal of what the reporter said, because they cleaned it up, it still sounds strange. I never understood why some media companies do this, where they'll sit, they interview somebody, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then they put 30 seconds. That doesn't do anything for us. I get it for TV, maybe, you know, they have their time constraints or whatever, but these platforms, they have, you know, they have other website, Facebook, YouTube, post the full interview. What is the point in talking with somebody and putting 15 seconds? It doesn't make any sense. They've been doing this for so long. It's not all of them, because there's other companies, they know and they're in tune with what people want. Some of them are not in tune. What is the point of me talking to you and it's 10 seconds? That makes no sense to me, right?
I haven't been able to talk to him, but she was with him on the 1st and she was with him on the 6th.
iCkEdMeL, there is a full interview. You're so misinformed. You're an idiot. No, I'm just kidding. I've never seen a full. They would say that though if there was one out.
And what's important to point out, Ashley, is you played that clip from Cassie, but in the ABC Good Morning America piece, again, the only news outlet that actually spoke to Cassie, the reporter before that soundbite said that Cassie had not seen her brother since he had come back from his trip and been back in Florida. So that is what ABC News is reporting. You mentioned it. We've been trying to get the transcript. I mean, we would love to see the raw interview and be able to sort of go through it ourselves. Also, I would have loved to interview Cassie myself. We've tried. Other news outlets have tried. Well, we're basing this on ABC News reporting, and now the lawyer is saying that that is not actually the case.
So in all of this scrutiny, Brian, I think we found something else that's a bit troubling. And this is going to take some thinking. So folks at home, put on your timeline hat.
If you guys wouldn't mind hitting like too, please, I'd appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining me on Sunday. I know there's a lot of things going on and other channels and stuff. So thank you for, stopping by.
That interview was given on September 17th. That is a Thursday. 2 days before that interview, Brian apparently vanished. So Brian has now been gone for 2 days. And it isn't until the next day that the Laundries are going to tell the police this. But let's just think for a moment. Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie have not seen their son for one night, and for 2 nights. They never called the sister to say, has he gone to your house? He didn't come home from the swamp. Now, with that as the context, I want to play this next piece of that interview because, and I'm going to have to read the question for you because otherwise it's a little hard to hear it from the reporter. But the reporter said, and when you just heard the news that in general that she's missing and that your brother is back here, and Cassie answers. So now let's watch that clip. And remember, her brother has been missing for 2 days, okay? That's when this interview is being taken. Take a look.
And when you just heard the news, just in general, like that she's missing and that your brother's back here, I don't understand as much as everybody else. I'm learning everything from the news, too.
Brian, that is very troubling. Nobody knew at that point that Brian Laundrie had been on the run for 2 days. And I'm to assume that the sister doesn't know either. Mom and dad aren't worried enough about...
Play that again.
For 2 days, okay? That's when this interview is being taken. Take a look.
And when you just heard the news, just in general, like that she's missing and that your brother's back here, I don't understand as much as everybody else. I'm learning everything from the news too.
Brian, that is very troubling. Nobody knew at that point that Brian Laundrie had been on the run for 2 days. And I'm to assume that the sister doesn't know either. Mom and dad aren't worried enough about where Brian is spending his nights that they don't call her and say, is he at your house? Are we really to believe that this woman is telling the truth when she says, and let me be clear here, the question was, and when you heard the news that just in general, she's missing and your brother is back here, I don't understand. As much as everybody else I'm learning from the news. This is really disquieting.
It really makes no sense why these people put the interview out like that. I don't know why some companies still do that. Because, you know, I've spoken to people back with a whole different story with Malia Davis. I spoke to a woman that did an interview. She told me how long, I forgot how long she said, 10, 15, 20 minutes. They literally put 30 seconds. I understand for the TV it's one thing, but on the internet put out the other thing. Why do they do that? It makes no sense. It doesn't even come out coherent. Can we hear a normal conversation of this actual interview? So I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, and let's take a step back even farther here, Ashley, because I was thinking about this for the last couple of hours. The lawyer is now admitting that the sister Cassie had Brian over the house on September 1st and then was at the campground on the camping trip. So weren't they all discussing where is Gabby? I mean, the sister was there with Brian 2 times, according to the attorney. I mean, how did this, were there conversations? Did this come up?
There had to have been some sort of conversation, right? I mean, Gabby was, she was living there, I guess, until he moved all her stuff into the storage unit, reportedly. But she was living there. So, yeah, they come back and the family's not going to ask anything. Oh, just on this camper trip. Nobody says, where's Gabby? Oh, it's a nice day.
Up, Brian, my brother, you have come back and your fiance is not here and you have her van. I don't quite understand that part of it.
And I love her and my children love her. And boy, I hope she comes back. I find it all very... I don't know. I have an expression that I use, and that is, I smell a rat. I
was thinking the word BS, but yeah. That's
just do not like any of this. This just reeks of reporter instinct that jumps into overdrive when you hear people speaking like that, knowing of the circumstances now that we didn't know then. Okay, Brian.
So that was really good, interesting. I should have tied that in together with the original stuff. I have another portion that I want to show you as well that I thought was really good. That's from News Nation. That's Brian Enton. I forget the lady's name. And I have the other clip I wanted to show you guys. Let's see. Okay, make sure YouTube's not acting funny here. All right, this is the clip I want to show you. Boom, boom. And this goes with regards to like the autopsy. Poor connection. Let me check out the super chats real quick. YouTube's telling me something's being a little funny, but everything looks fine on my end. Comcast. Let's check it out. Okay. So some of the super chats, and then we'll get back to this video clip. Joyce, thank you for the super chat. Alicia, thank you for the super chat. I read those. Donna. Hey, Donna. How you doing? I see you're working on your channel. Show some love to Mel all together now. One after another. Make it a wave of love. If you want me to send you that clip too, if you need a clip of that live stream where you called in, if you want to put it on your channel, just let me know. I can chop it up for you. Thank you for the super chat. New York, thank you for the super chat. I agree the parents are hiding. If my significant other was missing, I would be a mess, and they are not. The family is not hinder for justice. Thank you, Gabby. Justice for Gabby. Yeah, it's kind of a little hard to read. Thank you, though. Jem, match me, folks. Thanks to Mel. Thank you. Jen, look, the neighbor in the front is covering a hole Brian used to escape. LOL, video of today at Laundrie. Oh. Donna, I wonder if that picture really was him, the one that the person took of him the street behind the house of this guy walking. He just slipped out. I forgot what the date was when that picture was taken. I can't remember now. Donna, we got this family. Show love to Mel now. See what we can do for him. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I just appreciate you guys being here and hitting the like, which helps out a lot. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the super chat. Melanie, the guy was live. Neighbors told him they seen Brian jump the fence the night he left. Really? They told him the house across the street has cameras. Oh, why haven't they put that video out? I'm sure it would have blown up if they put that video out. Donna, be a giver. Back to Mel. Don't just be a receiver. Be a giver. Give and show your love. Thank you, Donna. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're being safe. Appreciate it. I wonder if you got any more calls. Did you get any more calls from that? And the number you sent me that you called, apparently it was one of the numbers from the laundry. But I don't know who called you unblocked. You know, that's the only thing we can't verify. But I mean, if I was that family or if I was the neighbors, I'd probably be drinking too, man. All day, man. They got to be stressed. Whispers from heaven. Thank you for the super chat. If someone is covered in mud, can the camera still pick him up? Ugh. I don't know how the cameras work. The detection. I think it's just motion, so I think it would pick him up. Let's check out this clip with regards to the autopsy.
Charged with a more serious charge. Given what we know so far, many in the public are wondering, why hasn't Brian Laundrie been charged with a more serious charge in the disappearance?
And I had a couple calls the last time, and a friend called me today. My friend that's off the hinges. Like, yo, they don't have nothing on it, man. That's why they're doing that. But he breaks down a really interesting bit of information as to why, possibly why.
And death of Gabby at this point.
Well, good evening, Marnie. I think that's coming, but there's always a tension in situations like this between police and prosecutors. There's a lot of pressure on police to find Brian Laundrie and to arrest him. But prosecutors have to meet a higher burden. See, for police to arrest, they just need probable cause. That's not that high of a burden. But for prosecutors, we need to prove cases beyond any reasonable doubt. So we're always telling police in situations like this to hold off on making the arrest. That's why you have this lesser count. That's an easy one to prove, and that can keep him in custody after he's found. But remember, prosecutors not only have a higher burden, but we have rules like if we don't file charges within 30 days of the arrest, then the guy goes free without any conditions until his trial. Also, we have speedy trial rules that say that we've got to try the case in 180 days, at least here in Florida, which is why prosecutors aren't rushing to file charges yet.
I understand. So are you surprised a cause of death hasn't been publicly released yet for Gabby?
Well, they may want to keep that a secret until they're able to talk to Brian and the family and others who may have information, because it's something that investigators may use where they know the cause of death and they may try to get a witness or Brian himself to say, no, I didn't strangle her. And then all of a sudden, how'd you know she was strangled? So that may not be information that they want to be let out to the public yet. But at least they have ruled it a homicide. There were 5 options for the medical examiner. It could have been natural causes, accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. The fact that they ruled it a homicide is the one choice that's good for prosecutors.
David, as you know, the court of public opinion is very different than the court of law. Help us distinguish between the two when it comes to the parents' legal rights at this point, and are they protected under Florida law?
Well, Marnie, the parents of Brian Laundrie, they have done everything possible to incriminate themselves in the court of public opinion. But in the court of the law, that is different, because under the law, to be charged as an accessory after the fact, you need to know that Brian committed a crime, and then you have to do something to prevent his punishment or his arrest. So, for example, if they sanitize the van, now that'll get him hooked for a crime. If they hid evidence, if they bought him a plane ticket to get out of town because they knew he was involved in a crime, then you would see prosecutors getting ready to file charges right away. But we don't have that evidence yet. Right now, we know that the parents remain silent, they lawyered up, and that in itself is not a crime. In fact, the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination applies to the parents and Brian, and it can't be used against them in a court of law.
Even though everybody wants to hear from them, they have that right to remain silent. Brian Laundrie certainly doesn't want to be found at this point. In your experience as a prosecutor, is flight evidence of guilt?
it's consciousness of guilt, and you can use that at the trial. So even though Brian Laundrie has the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, at trial, his flight can come back to haunt him because the prosecutors can point to that. In fact, it's even in some jury instructions. It says that if you flee, that is consciousness of guilt, and jurors hate it when defendants flee. But his silence in itself is not going to be used against him unless he tries to explain that, well, Gabby just walked off and someone else killed her, or she committed suicide, or it was an accident. Well, then if he takes a stand and says that, the prosecutors can say, really? Who'd you call afterwards? Did you report her missing? Did you say anything to anyone? And that's where his silence can also hurt him.
I thought that was a really interesting clip. You know, as far as can the parents be charged or not, the autopsy thing, I think they're probably going to hold on to it. And, you know, if the parents, it's really about if the parents helped them out as far as, you know, helped them escape, or if they helped them clean up something and what they can prove. How's the stream looking for? Okay, its connection's fine now. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. YouTube was telling me one thing and StreamYards or Labs is saying everything is fine.
Really?
But that, oh, one more article. This was really interesting as well. Somebody sent this to me. Kind of interesting. National Park Service stonewalls public records in Gabby Petito case. This was posted a couple of days ago, but I haven't seen this. It says that the U.S. National Park Service has denied 2 requests for public records filed by KSL under the Freedom of Information Act. The requests are in connection with the disappearance of Gabrielle Petito. In a pair of response letters on Tuesday, the agency said release the backcountry campsite reservation data from Yellowstone National Park and ranger body camera footage of the Arks National Park could interfere with enforcement proceedings. The National Park Service added providing those public records could afford a virtual roadmap through the government's evidence and prematurely reveal the full scope of the evidence that has been obtained to date. Both of KSL's requests were filed before the federal prosecutors last week obtained an arrest warrant for Brian Laundrie. He is Petito's boyfriend and the man whom she spent the summer of 2021 traveling across the United States in their Ford van. We know all that stuff. Neither letter from the National Park Service mentioned Laundrie by name. The letters said KSL could resubmit its records request once an undefined enforcement action was complete. They added, we are unable to provide you with an estimate of when that might be. Horrible reading today. The first was filed on September 16, 2021, while Petito was still a missing person. It sought reservation records for Yellowstone National Park backcountry camping site 4R1 for dates between August 30th and September 7th. At the time, KSL was attempting to discern whether or not Petito or Laundrie had made definitive plans to stay in Yellowstone National Park after departing the area of Grand Teton National Park. KSL had honed in on the specific site, which sits along the south rim of Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, by analyzing information from a campsite planning app Petito had used called The Dirt. That's the app where people had pulled up and they can see their planned trips. KSL's review of Petito's profile on The Dirt had showed a strong correlation between places she pinned and locations she and Laundrie had actually camped in Colorado and Utah during July and August 2021. This suggested Petito might have sought or obtained a backcountry camping permit from the National Park Service for Site 4R1. If she had not, it might suggest her trip had been cut short, potentially at one of the sites she pinned near Grand Teton. This is kind of like a screenshot of it. And so we know that she used this app, The Dirt, to search for and review potential campsites. She had a public profile. Petito's body was subsequently located September 19 by FBI and National Park Service staff. near the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in the Bridger Teton National Forest, immediately outside the boundary of Grand Teton National Park. Spread Creek was a location Gabby Petito had pinned on the Dirt app. It was an area of interest in KSL's coverage. I mean, most of the stuff we know. The part that I should have marked it where I wanted to show. This part here. The second FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, request asks for any video of the Arches National Park entry stations and or body-worn camera video from National Park Service staff related to the August 12th incident involving Gabby to include, and this is the part, body-worn camera from MPS Ranger Melissa Hulls. And this is the video footage that I referenced multiple times. A lot of us have kind of talked about. We would love to see the conversation that she had with Gabby. Shortly following Moab City's release of the body camera footage, the Desert News published an article focused on Arches National Park Ranger Melissa Hulls. Hulls was one of the Arches Ranger who also responded to the domestic dispute call. The Moab officers' video showed Hulls was wearing a body camera. So I remember there was kind of like conversation on one of the last streams we were talking about. I think it was when the second body cam came out as to whether she had a body camera on. And so according to this, she was wearing a body camera. The Desert News quoted Hulls as saying she'd told Petito her relationship with Laundrie appeared toxic. So sorry about that. I should have marked where I wanted to read. This is really what I wanted to show you about that. And this is the woman here. So it would be interesting if that came out. I don't know if it will. National Park Service Ranger Melissa Hulls is captured on Moab Police body camera recording from August 12, 2021. Not showing the full thing for some reason. Hulls was of several law enforcement officers to respond to a domestic dispute. The National Park Service has refused to release footage from the camera Hulls and other park rangers were wearing, though we've seen two from police. You know, really would love to see what her camera has and what it said. Lord Almighty. The sheriff's office said it has received about 10 more sightings and calls in the area between Saturday and Sunday, including one from a woman who called in a possibly Laundrie sighting, saying she saw a man with skinny legs near an overpass. Bro, they are hunting for any bald white man, lanky bald white man. The hunt is on. That's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to kind of show you guys. You know, usually on the weekends, it's a little bit slower as far as information that's coming out. And this weekend has kind of been somewhat slow. Maybe I'll pick up on Monday. I am going to be looking into covering probably a new story soon. Maybe tonight or tomorrow I'll start working on a new one. And of course, I'll still be covering this, but you know, I've been mixing in other stories as well. Take a look at the super chats. But yeah, man, I thank you guys for coming. Had a little rough one today with reading for some reason. Whispers. Oh yeah, we read that. Be Shelly again. We read that as well. Yeah, man. Any thoughts in the chat? She said a sighting, she saw a man with skinny legs. I don't know what that means, but skinny legs in an overpass. Somebody said, oh, it must be him. Let me show you that real quick. Bro. Yeah, I am. I'm Dominican. I'm ashamed to the Dominicans, though. Like, too Americanized. Oh, man. Oh, you know what? Real quick. Well, I don't know if I should. There was these crazy stories that I saw pop up on my notification, completely unrelated, but there's this, let me see, I sent myself something. Oof. Couple things. If you just want to go off topic, or if not, we can end it. But I'll just mention it real quick. Crazy stuff. There's a lot of craziness going on. I know we're focused on Gabby, but this happened a day ago. Just real quick. Amber Alert issued for a 2-year-old taken by a woman accused of killing grandmother. Let's just play the clip real quick. Probably gonna play an ad. Hands up if you think Brian's in India. It doesn't really, to me, people are like wondering what I am. I don't care. I don't care what I am. I'm me.
The chief to help us sort some of this out. I was told he was too busy continuing to work.
I know for some people that runs deep. For me, it's like, the new generation. We're into computers, gaming, and the internet.
Work this case around the clock, even at this hour. A case that still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to family members tonight.
These are the pictures you need to see. The first of 2-year-old Dior Singleton, the second of his mom, Camille. Police believe she took off with her son, who she doesn't have custody of, after allegedly killing 60-year-old Inita Gaithier.
Bro, these people are crazy, man.
Family members say Inita is Camille's grandmother.
If she did do this, anybody could do it to anybody, let alone your grandmother.
Neighbors speaking to our Gloria Rodriguez today after their community was turned into a crime scene last night. The scene of detectives replaced by a small memorial tonight.
She was just the sweetest lady I've ever known. You just don't find people better than that. And this is something you don't expect around here. It was a shock to the whole community.
The investigation started yesterday when police showed up to Miss Gaithier's home on Crawford Parkway for a welfare check. She was found dead inside. An incident report shows she was shot in the head. Detectives developed Singleton as a suspect, and their best clue so far was from a U-Haul dealership in Georgia. Singleton was driving one and had dropped the truck off.
I know she didn't deserve that, no matter what. She took care of her grandson on her own for the last, I've been here 3 years. That was her whole life.
Police are still looking into whether 2-year-old Dior lived with Inita here in Clayton. They said an Amber Alert was sent out today after they talked more with Dior's father, who was deployed in the Navy out to sea.
And you're taking a live look again at that Amber Alert page. Now you might be wondering why your phone was buzzing tonight, and this is exactly why. Again, this is Dior.
So that was one of the crazy things that popped up in my notification. Let me show you another one, and this one I think is Florida. I think, yeah. This is our guy here. Did you even know this happened? This happened, I think, yesterday. An upset employee is accused of killing 3 people and injuring 2 others with a baseball bat and a knife.
The horrible murderer. That's what Sheriff Grady Judd called Sean Runyon, who's accused of killing 3 people and injuring 1 more. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay This Weekend. I'm Miranda Parnell. Deputies say 7 people were at home when Runyon came in with a baseball bat and a knife this morning. One of them was Runyon's boss. The 2 had argued recently. The house was inside Windsor Island Resort in Davenport. Investigators say Runyon and all of the adults inside the rented home worked for J&B Electric, a contractor in Pennsylvania. Deputies say the group was in Lakeland doing contract work for Publix. Runyon
Endangering the welfare of children, strangulation, DUI, and simple assault. And I've been hearing a lot of stories like this happen where people are just insane, man. They busted into your house, people in your neighborhood. People are on edge in general already. Plus, it's Florida. And I guess they didn't have any guns or any weapons in the house because it would have got popped coming into the wrong place.
has a history of criminal charges in Pennsylvania, including endangering the welfare of children, strangulation, DUI, and simple assault.
So employee at JB Electric based in Pennsylvania. Other companies based in Pennsylvania.
The sheriff says their first call came in at 9:44 this morning, which led to what Sheriff Judd called an intense manhunt that led deputies to Runyon at a hospital where he was
You guys feel like doing calls? I'll put a poll. I'm going to let this video finish playing. And if you guys want to do calls, I'm going to run a poll. Because if not, then we'll probably end the stream after this. But let's see. Calls. Yes, no. Boom.
Was claiming he'd been sexually assaulted. Tonight, 10 Tampa Bay's Shannon Clough talks to a man who says he crossed paths with Runyon just minutes before the fatal attack began.
Tonight, 3 families are grieving in what Sheriff Judd calls a horrific murder. One man renting a house in this community tells me this morning he saw Runyon with that bat in his hand. This attack just so violent, he didn't want his name out there, but he tells me about this odd encounter. What started out as a typical morning walk
I got up early in the morning before everybody else and I decided to make this walk.
turned into a strange meeting around 9 this morning.
This guy passed me, like on my right side as I'm walking, and he was like, how you doing?
That guy, he says, was Sean Runyon.
I saw that he had a bat in his hand, and I looked back.
Part of him thought it was odd, but he figured maybe he worked in the community.
I actually thought, because it's a new construction area, so I actually thought he was like a supervisor.
Later, Polk County investigators told him that man was Sean Runyon, and he was wanted for murder.
At 9:44 this morning, we received a 911 call about a murder.
Investigators say Runyon went into a house where his co-workers were staying with a bat and a knife.
One victim was beaten to death in his bed while he slept. Another victim was beaten significantly. A third victim is deceased on the front porch of the residence.
In total, there were 7 people inside of the house.
All right, so we'll do some calls. I'm going to let this finish. And there were super chats too. M4SL said, did you cover the offender they found in Utah who they are potentially looking into the link of Kylan and Crystal? I mentioned that guy, and I did mention that he was caught. And when I spoke to the father of Kylan, I just did an interview recently. This is the second follow-up interview. I spoke to him. I asked him about that. And so I don't believe they believe it's linked. What is that?
Kiki Palmer's in the FabFitFun. You know it. I know you're wondering. How you?
Don't do that. But and also with Gabby, Petito, and Brian Laundrie, they supposedly they ruled it out. When I spoke to the father, I asked him, "Do you know how?" And he says they never told him how they ruled it out. So I don't know if they have some sort of evidence that they said it's not related, supposedly. But the offender, that was a really interesting one because that guy was kind of crazy. He escaped from a hospital. He dressed up as a doctor and with an ID badge and everything, escapes a hospital, and he goes on a loose and rampage for all these different states. Crazy.
He chases a 4th victim into the street and struck him in the shoulder and the back area with this baseball bat. Another man and his wife and his 7-year-old little girl were able to escape the residence without harm.
Sheriff Judd says Runyon knew everyone involved. They were co-workers or family of co-workers. After the alleged killings, Runyon ran.
We saw where he fled from the area through a blood trail.
Sheriff Judd says hours later, Runyon ended up at a random home in Lake Wales, telling people he was raped. They told him to go to the hospital, and that's where he was arrested.
The murderer, the horrible murderer, is in custody, and the community is once again safe.
And Runyon was supposed to be back in Pennsylvania yesterday. And we did try reaching out to his boss at the electric company today, but we haven't been able to make contact. We've also reached out to Publix to ask about their procedures for hiring contractors. Tonight, we are still waiting on those answers.
So that's kind of a crazy one. Just little snippets of what's going on around as well. There's a lot of craziness going on. Miriam says, Mel, what about the SVP guy on Tyler Feller last night? Gavis was very interesting. I don't know who SVP is, and I don't know who Gavis is. Tyler Feller, I know that I've seen the YouTube channel, and I know he's covering the story. But, yeah, I don't know who SVP is or Gavis. Let me end the poll. Thank you for the super chat. All right, let me take a look at the super chats, and I guess we'll do some calls. We'll do some calls Sunday afternoon. I honestly, I was thinking too, because somebody messaged me and emailed me, and they're like, if you want we can meet up and I could show you some of the places around up there. But the Carlton Reserve, I thought is closed off. I don't think you can get into the Carlton Reserve. I wouldn't mind going to the to Fort De Soto, and like if somebody has a boat, we want to go to the islands. I don't know if we're allowed. I mean, who's to say we're not allowed, right? It's open public. I would love to go check out some of those islands just to have a in-person look at what it looks like, on a day I don't have my daughter. Shannon, I love you, Mel. I'm coming to Tampa next month. Can I take you out? Yeah, if you want, hit me up. Email me. I don't live in Tampa though. I'm in South Florida, but Tampa's not far away though. Gotta hang up on that. Sorry. Let me do the call-in thing. I'm in South Florida. I met up with a friend recently for the first time, a subscriber, somebody that supports the channel, Dr. Latina. Host show. All right, let's do this. And also said, Stephanie says, people are nuts. Stable citizens should pay attention. Let's start with the Laundrie's neighbor. Dude threatened to kill the protester, call the protester's wife a B, and all while yelling at the top of his lungs. Unbelievable. We covered that whole situation, and supposedly, I guess there's more to that story. We saw the other video from the neighbor. To me, it almost seems like maybe they had some previous issues. This is not the first time. It sucks to have if a crazy neighbor in your area. I don't know that guy's crazy. I don't know the situation, but I'm just saying I've been in and I've had experiences with some neighbors that they watch your routine. Some of them, they know when you're going to work. Because at one time at this place I was living, this guy walks up to me. I had never talked to him before. I've always seen him. And this is years ago. And this is when I was working at the hospital. And one day I just, hey, how you doing? Hey, good, yeah. Oh, you just came back from work, huh? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I noticed from this day to this day, you working and you come home at this time. I'm kind of like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Maddie was still a baby and they're at home and I was working graveyard and it was freaky. The other thing that upset me, not upset me, but the other thing I thought was weird, the maintenance had the keys to our place, which I guess is usual. But at the time I was working graveyard and newborn baby and I was like, but I had an alarm, so they couldn't come in anyway without me knowing. And that's another thing. Speaking of that, I really think that people should have some sort of video at their house. They should have some sort of alarm system, because even if you have a gun, if somebody sneaks up on you, it's useless. If you're sleeping or whatever, you should at least have some sort of alarm system. So when somebody comes into your house unannounced, sneaks in or whatever, at least you have the alarm to alert you, to give you a little bit of head start. If you have a gun and somebody walks up on you and you're sleeping and knocks you with a bat or whatever, it's useless. Let me mute for a second. I'm gonna call in. Chill for a little bit. Hang out for a bit. Mute this. Okay, we're in. Thank you, Stephanie, for that super chat. I think a lot of people are on edge, and I just want to caution people again to just be careful when you're going out to these places, man, because you don't know who's on edge, you don't know who's had enough, you don't know who's dealing with what kind of mental stuff or what they're going through. So just be cautious, and mindful. The number is 954-787-3009. There's 2 people already. 954-787-3009. We'll do some calls for a bit. And 3-minute limits. 906. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mel.
Hey.
I'm calling from Michigan.
Hey, welcome. How's it going?
Good. I just want to say that I know people are going nuts. I mean, obviously,
right.
We're seeing these videos going, and tempers are flaring. I mean, now, I don't know if people know this, but Gabby's mom and her stepdad and her stepmom are now on Twitter.
Right.
And it's really and the hashtag that I want to point out is she's America's daughter, and that's what this is turning into. And and even, situations talking to people about domestic violence. And this is the month of domestic violence
Thank you.
awareness.
Yes. I keep forgetting to mention that. Yes. October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we need to keep continuing the conversation I myself have had with my daughter recently about it, getting out of relationships. Life's too short. And I have been into, it's a long story, but anyways, I just want to say that thank you again to everybody who is keeping it out there for us survivors. I mean, it does help somebody. It may help if it just helps one person. At least then, you helped one person.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that.
And thank you all. Take care.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I've had a few people tell me Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I keep forgetting I was supposed to mention it. So yeah, that's October. And I want to be sure it's October, right? Another site says May, but a couple people emailed me, and maybe it's different. Let's see. That's over here. It says May, so I don't know. A couple people told me it's this month. I'm gonna have to get some clarification on that. 914. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hi. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks.
I'm calling from Connecticut. So I'm a New Yorker. I just moved here. I really feel bad, honestly, for Gabby, but I feel like a lot of people are kind of just glazing over the fact that a lot of men, I guess nowadays or something, like, are just, I don't know, like, they don't know how to deal with their emotions. I understand he had, like, other kinds of maybe issues, like, I don't know, about his mental health and such, but how come, like, that's never in the news? Like, that, like, there's just, I don't know, like, I don't want to be fucked up, but, I mean, excuse me, but, they're like white men are always doing something crazy, but in the news, it's always this guy, that guy, or like, these people, those people, these people. I'm like, but how about, let's put some light onto, I don't know, just like showing that this is wrong, that like, I don't know. This topic is just so, it makes me feel so bad because like, no one should have that much control over somebody else, like he made one like move and then decided like in a total selfish way or whatever happened, like that he just left her and he could just deal with that and just go on whether he did it or not or whatever, but just like he just walked away from a whole human being. Like we need to have more compassion for people and just even just women, like you can't just, I don't know, it's just how can you be so heartless and just care like so little.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It was not a great. I wasn't expecting that to really take my call through. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you calling. So what are you saying exactly? Like with, as far as domestic violence and men, or like.
Let's focus on the fact that it's okay to not. It's not everybody feels great all the time. Everybody's
right.
like can be hurt. Some people say hurtful things, but. You have to learn how to deal with it the same way how women have to like deal like in a relationship. Someone sometimes can have their feelings hurt, right? So, but you have to learn how to get through that because if your feelings are always safe and you feel good all the time, then who are you hurting? You know what I mean? There's no way that you're treating everybody great all the time if you're feeling great, unless I don't even know if that's even possible because you know what I mean? Like if you're going to be totally selfish, obviously you're going to hurt somebody else. So it's okay to, to have highs, to have lows, like just learn how to bounce back and not be so righteous that like, I will not let this happen. I will not let anybody cross me like that. How dare they? You know what I mean? Like even just like kind of off topic, but like even storming the Capitol, like, come on, who are you to storm the Capitol? Like it's okay. You don't have to be, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stuff, you can deal with things. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's like, why do people just do whatever they want? Why do people just do what they want? Why don't they think about others? It's just very frustrating, especially when it comes to men.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, take
I'm
care.
just saying, like, they do what they want. All right, thanks. Love you.
All
Bye.
right, thank you. Love you too. Bye. It is October. I just wanted to double verify to make sure, because I know if I say something wrong, the people come hunting me down. I don't know too much about it, so I may have to like sit and read it. I mean, I know it's to bring awareness, but beyond that, I mean, there's some websites showing statistics between 2017 and 2018. Intimate partner homicides in the Bronx increased 85.7%. I know they're saying like in 2020 everything's increasing as well in 2021. So, all right, let me take the next call. 502. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi, how's it going? I'm in Kentucky.
Good. Hey, Kentucky, welcome.
Yeah, it sucks here. I kind of wanted to make a couple points, primarily one regarding the claim that he probably killed himself. Judging by the camera footage that you shared recently of his interactions with the police and everything, in a very chaotic situation where he's laughing it off and all of that, he's shown clear narcissistic traits. I obviously can't diagnose him, but he's shown those traits, and we've seen them across the board. Scott Peterson, we've seen them with Josh Powell and people, what is that, Chris something or other. We've seen these types of personas, and historically and statistically speaking, if he was to kill himself, he would have made it so that people would know right away. Like,
so isn't that a thing too? When people kill themselves,
similar.
It's a thing, isn't
I'm sorry?
it? I thought there was like a statistic when people kill themselves. Usually, it's in a place that you can find them. Usually, I thought there was like a number about that.
He wouldn't want people to still wonder whether or not he was innocent or whatever. He would want to make a statement with his death. They would. I mean, it makes no sense that he would like appear without her, with her freaking RV, and then disappear just so that people just wonder, like, where is this guy? Like, that doesn't seem like, that's not the typical type of behavior that you would expect and would be likely to occur. But that's just my opinion. I also wanted to point out that this case really shows to a very, very high degree how important it is for us to not completely dismantle, but defund the police so that we can put funds into organizations that can handle these situations with much more care, and look at things much more critically, rather than just look at the situation like the cops did in this situation. They dropped the ball. Like, it's sad as hell that
So you think-
she would have been better off if they'd arrested her.
So you think
Like,
defunding the
that's sad.
police would help?
Yeah, I think that if we were to redelegate, if we were to change the funding or move some of the funding to organizations where people weren't dealing with high intensity situations all the time, like you're talking about, people are dealing with, from robberies to drug deals gone bad to
So who do you think should answer the
shootings
calls?
and-
Should it be like social workers, like a 24-hour, like well, not a 24-hour, but like
would
on
say
call?
something similar to social workers, absolutely. I think that would be so much more effective in our community. As a domestic violence survivor, it's so much more complicated when you're looking at a situation. The victim is oftentimes going to display some of the same behaviors when they're trapped in a situation like that. And
Right.
they can often be mistaken as an abuser, when in all actuality, it's just a direct result of being in a very, very toxic relationship.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the call.
All right. Thanks for
All right.
streaming, dude.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. 973, just to keep it moving. 973, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mel.
Hey,
how are you
welcome.
doing?
Good.
Hi. I'm going to piggyback off of what she said. I don't believe in defunding the police.
Me
You
either.
have a guy that has a gun, and a social worker's not going to
Oh, yeah.
handle that. I'm
It's
a
kind of
nurse
crazy.
by profession.
Uh-huh.
So I'm a nurse by profession. So you need an interdisciplinary approach to a situation like that. You need someone that has some eyes. That you can have a consultant, like we have FaceTime. The cops could call a
Well,
FaceTime.
that's what I was wondering. Like, completely getting rid of
Then-
police and just social workers, or
No,
not
you
get rid of
can't. And
defunding. But maybe there could be some sort of department they could do, where like maybe there is some
They
sort of
need
like
it
on staff.
interdisciplinary.
What does that mean?
But then the other thing I wanted to know, I don't know if you were aware, what's ironic is the Moab police, mayor is a woman. And she, if you look at her bio, Emily Niehaus, she has a sociology degree, and she worked as a social worker. So isn't that ironic? That we have something going on in that town, and I just find it ironic that that's happening. And we do need protection. There's times when the police can't get there, and I know I saw a comment online of a European woman was saying, "Oh, she can't believe that we would use guns." But what's going to happen if the police are like 20 minutes away, and in your house is a half hour away from the police? So you have to have some backup if somebody is
Somebody said
is going after you.
somebody said social workers with guns.
Well, no, they wouldn't. You know what? I worked with social workers. They're very liberal people, and they don't want to. They're very scared. A lot of them don't want to do anything like that. They say they couldn't live with themselves to kill somebody. So the reason why people get into social work is because they don't want to do those kinds of things. Because I just look at some women that are like that. They want to help the whole world. They get into social work to save the world. They're not going to get into social work to potentially protect somebody, or kill them. They want to do it with their word. So that's really not going to work. But and then the other thing is that you have to look at his walk. People were talking about Brian Laundrie's walk.
I saw
He
that.
walks outward. It's called the pronation.
Does he
gait.
always
If you look
walk like
up.
that?
I don't. That's what they were saying.
Okay.
And the second thing the last thing no one's saying is that Cassie Laundrie Lusix, that's her real married name, she should be ashamed of herself as a mom. I'm a mom, and I believe that she's a poor role model, and for her kids, if she gets arrested, who's going to take care of her children? And what kind of an example is she setting? And she's letting her kids around this crazy narcissistic person that's a very bad influence on her children. And I wouldn't let anybody near my child or my daughter who's 13, that's wrong. And we have to protect our kids, and it's very important that we teach them the signs. And I don't know if I should. There's a good channel called Live Abuse Free on YouTube, and it's a UK British psychologist, and she goes over all different criminals and their narcissistic behaviors, and she delves into their behaviors, with the video analysis of all these interviews and everything. She's very good to look at. Live Abuse Free. You should probably get her on your show.
Live
She's
Abuse
from
Free.
England.
Okay.
Look at her.
Thank you.
She did some on the call, on the second call. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to
Appreciate the
Mel.
call.
Have a
Thank
good
you, you too.
night. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
And also with the whole defunding thing and all that stuff too, I appreciate the other caller. I'm not trying to come down on her or anything, but maybe it would be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would see. Maybe they would. Those people trying to risk their lives to respond. I mean, you see some of these people with a bat and a knife and just bursting into the house, and I don't know. But maybe I don't know if there'd be some sort of thing where maybe they could have some sort of on staff. I don't know, somebody that's educated in that kind of stuff. Or somebody they could call on the spot. I don't know. Real quick, the super chats, and then just 2 super chats, and then I'll get to the rest of the calls. I mean, this stuff makes you question a lot. Kind of what's going on now. I'm surprised they can't find this guy. Cindy, Thank you for the super chat. I'm a survivor that almost died. Get out. I know it's not easy, but your life may depend on that, man or woman. Thank you, Cindy. Jade, portions of Shenandoah Trail, oh my God, excuse me, being evacuated, part of AT near BL sightings. No idea. That guy didn't specify. I wonder what part yet. I don't know if he really specified. He kind of, as far as where the sighting was, he said, I think North Carolina or no, Tennessee. I don't remember what he said. Mine's all over the place. Christy Lee, thank you for everything you do. I'm a domestic violence survivor and really appreciate you mentioning it and defending women and kids. I'm very happy I found your channel. Much love to you, Mel. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. In her 30s. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, the best advice I would say too, and I know it's just oversimplified because people in certain situations, especially when you're young, just get out. You know, they're like, for them, it's not that easy. And sometimes maybe that's the most dangerous time. I know a woman too, a long time ago, she told me a situation where she had like multiple kids and she literally had to like come up with a plan and like leave without the guy knowing and like leave to a whole nother state and everything else. It was pretty crazy. And she said that she thinks she would have been killed if she hadn't done that. 860. How you doing? Where you calling from?
My name is Sophie from Connecticut.
Hey, welcome.
So I'm going to have an unpopular opinion.
All right.
But I'm not sure that he did it. And
you
I'm
know
not saying that he didn't. Yeah.
Sorry, can you start over? Tell me what your opinion was.
I'm saying that I'm not sure that he did it.
Okay. All right, let's see what you got to say.
And I'm not sure that he didn't. I'm not sure either way. I've seen crazy things being said on both sides, including that maybe his parents killed him and got rid of the body. So, you know, we're seeing a lot of stuff, but I'm just not sure. I think he's just stupid. I think that when he was there with her, I think he left her, which would account for why people claim to see him hitchhiking. I think he may have gone back. Maybe something happened between them, or maybe he found her. Maybe she did something to herself, which would explain why there were so many markings on so many trees there where she was found. When they did come out and they put out a warrant for him, I thought, well, maybe he did do it. And then I found out it was for fraud, which is actually a trumped up charge just to justify being able to search for him. That's never going to stick. If he proves he put money into the account or that he's used her card before, it would never stick. Which is fine. I mean, they should search for him, but I'm just not positive that he did it. I just don't know that he did it. And I don't know that he didn't. I'm just saying I don't know either way. And I hate that people are just like, he's a narcissist, he's this, he's that. We really don't know anything about them.
Why do you think? Well, I guess we don't know. I mean, you don't like why he's on the run. My thing with that,
That's what I'm saying. I think he's stupid. Right. And I think that he thinks that everybody's looking for him and people think, or that he knows he saw her and didn't do anything about it. Like, we're adults. We know to call the police if we saw something serious like that, but he's stupid and he's a kid. And maybe he just decided to run. Maybe he didn't tell his parents. I can't foresee that his parents would go camping if they knew their son just killed somebody.
But at the same time, the thing is, and there's so many other things, but like they live together. Like, I mean, this guy supposedly allegedly flies back in the middle of the trip, which makes no damn sense to me, just to move her stuff into storage, then comes back. Gabby lived there with these people.
Maybe she told them
comes
that
back
she
without
went
her.
home.
I just couldn't imagine somebody being like, well, what happened?
Yes, and I think that people's number one thing is to always believe their kids. You know, maybe he told them she went home to visit her family. Or maybe she did tell them, and they're, you know, it is possible that they're trying to cover up for him. It is possible that they're helping him. But I'm just saying I'm not 100% sure that he killed her. I mean, again, he could have. I just think that it's odd that everybody's, you know, saying such horrible things about him or her, because again, I've seen crazy things on both sides, when we really just don't know. Or blaming the police on why they didn't. I mean, you have two people saying almost similar stories. I mean, I think the only difference was that she said she grabbed his arm and he said she grabbed the wheel. But other than that, their stories were pretty similar, and that they still should have just arrested him and believed that she was a battered woman. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, well,
it just
thank
doesn't
you.
make any sense.
I appreciate the call. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. I mean, he hasn't been charged. I mean, and the whole thing too, like the video we just saw, who knows? Maybe that could be a strategy or something. We don't know the autopsy results either, besides what they released as far as like homicide. And so it could be strategy. We don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know. People ask me that all the time. What do you think? First of all, people, I try to be careful of what I say because saying certain things could be a liability just for me as my channel and stuff like that. I think he might have snapped, but as far as that, like, I have no idea. We're missing a lot of bits of information, but of course it's super strange and awkward and this guy's gone and on the run. And I don't know how you could come back without her and just this weird mid-trip and then the camping thing and then the sister too. I mean, I don't know. 954. How you doing? Where you calling from? Well, obviously. Florida.
Yeah, it's Anthony from Fort Lauderdale.
Anthony, what is up, man? How you doing? How you been?
How you doing? Anytime you need a ride over there, I'll be your chauffeur. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. I might hold you
Yeah.
up to
No.
that
No.
then.
If you, I always want to hook up with you because I like the way you started back in the mangroves with all the clothes and the toys. And
You
look where
remember
we're
that?
at now.
Yeah.
Oh, look where we're at now. I told you were in something that's going to be explosive, and here we are.
All right.
I mean, it's
Hopefully
crazy
that's
in South Florida.
Yeah, it is. I know, man. What are your thoughts? Any new things going on as far as like what do you think about the
Well,
story,
let me.
Brian?
The lady was talking about defunding the police. My son is a Leon County sheriff. He was in McCullough County for so many years, 5 years in the prison, dealing with any kind from serial killers to mass murderers. I mean, he's driven him from Tallahassee to Jacksonville. He's had some close calls where they try to manipulate him, that type of thing. So I don't think you're going to put a social worker in between two serial killers and tell them, let's do some knitting. Let me show you how to make a sock or something, kind of calm them down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So people like that need to ride in the backseat of a cop car and go on an area where it's real bad. And then they can get a perspective of what the police officer has to do in a split second. For example, my son got a call. This woman was missing for 2 days, Alzheimer's, and thank God she had "I fallen, I can't get up" around her neck, so they could GPS her. So when they found her, my son walked back in the backyard, opened the gate, and here she comes walking out, not knowing what's going on, and she's carrying her cat. But the cat's stuffed. She had her personal cat stuffed. So she's walking around the neighborhood with her stuffed cat.
Stuffed? You mean like they? What do you mean stuffed?
Taxidermist. Taxidermist.
Oh.
And talking to it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, my son would escort it to the people that were looking for him, and everything was fine. I go, "Son, how do you deal with that?" He goes, "It is what it is, Dad." And then the next 3 calls down the road, he's taking a taser to a 13-year-old black son that has a knife to his mother. And when he tased the son, instead of pulling his 9mm, he tased him with the new tasers Leon County sheriffs have. And the knife fell exactly the way he wanted it. His partner stepped on it. Then the mother jumped on my son because the reaction from the taser. So he ended up the father said, handcuff them both and take them both down. Wow. They ended up arresting the mother and the son with the issue.
Damn. Well, thanks, man.
And then about 4 days later, they go to a Walmart. There's a crazy guy on drugs, and he's pointing a gun and swinging it around. So one of the officers got a hold of this new gun. They shoot it, and it shoots a rope around the ankles, like I don't know, it's something new. You shoot it out, and then it wraps your legs and knocks you on your butt. And then they jump them. Otherwise, they could open fire down like they do down here in Metro-Dade. They empty their clips in them. So they're really thinking about how to approach this sickness that's on the street. So the first caller woman, she wants to have social workers. We'll make like nut goodies and stuff up at Dunkin' Donuts, maybe, get some coffee.
So you don't think it's a good idea?
It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You need, the police are doing it as best they can. Okay. And they're the last resort is if they get a gun pointed at them and they start resisting, they got to do what they got to do. So,
all right,
but anyway, I like to get together with you. We'll rent a van. You load it up. We'll go down there and we'll explore every part of that.
The only thing I'm wondering, we might need somebody with a boat, unless we could just get one. But somebody maybe.
No, you got to rent one of those kayaks. You know how I'm in that.
Oh yeah, that's
I like to check it out. Yeah, and I carry, so I'm papered. Everything, so we're ready to go.
All right, sounds good. I saved your number. I wrote it down in my note thing.
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I like to get together down here in Hollywood because I got a couple areas I like you to show, and even if going up in Ocala, I'll even show you some areas up there that you come running out of that place.
Oh,
it's all over us, Mel. It's crazy.
All right, man.
But you keep doing what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing. I understand you got to keep careful what you say, and I got to watch myself as well. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Take care.
Take care. Be safe.
You too. Okay, 954. The next 954 caller. How you doing? Where you calling from?
So, what's up, Mel?
Oh, hey. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. He was just listening. Hey, I like that dude, Anthony. He seems cool, bro.
Yeah.
He's cool.
He's called a couple times. Been on the channel
it
for
out,
a while.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. Sounds cool. Listen, what I'm thinking is, why do the FBI don't use Casey as like leverage? Because she has like young kids, and I'm pretty sure she don't want to be locked up.
Use who as leverage?
Casey, the sister. She lied.
That's not enough to like. I mean, and supposedly the lawyer said that law enforcement was aware of the dates, but that's not enough to just pull her in. I don't think it is.
And also what I was thinking is they went to that camp, right? What was it called? Fort De Soto?
Yeah, Fort De Soto. Yeah. Looking
I
at
think
it
they
right
went
now.
in there to burn evidence.
Oh, I remember you told me about that. You think it's possible they went there to burn stuff up?
Yeah, well, because obviously, you go there, you go to camp things to tell scary stories and, make campfires and shit like that, chill,
Right.
I think they probably went in there to burn a couple evidence, whatever. That's probably the only way to get away with probably the evidence they had, though.
I saw, I was kind of curious too, because I saw this guy, Popcorn Planet. He went out there. I just looked at it a little bit. He put a video on Instagram, and I saw that he was at the campsite. I mean, it was at like the campsite that they stayed. I saw all these bushes and everything. And I was like, yo, if it was me, I'd bring my machete and I'll start cutting a little bit and looking, just kind of scan the ground a little bit. I mean, it's probably going to be a bunch of people's trash, but I mean, I don't know what he looked at, what else he looked at. But yeah, I was just kind of curious. What did they do? What was the deal at this campsite or whatever? I mean, because the mother, the father, believe Brian, and then the sister. It's like a family reunion. Just my thoughts, speculation.
The mom supposedly try to be there the same day, I think, and then she couldn't because supposedly it was full, so she had to wait a week. Later, she came in the 6th. That's probably where that was his escape route or whatever they had to do, man.
I might have to link up with some people up there, man. I think the YouTube guy lives up there. I might get a boat, start going to some of these islands, man. I don't know. And check it out. I was just kind of curious to see what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, we be going in there in the jungle,
Yeah, we've done it, man.
We need to do.
Yeah.
I know. You ain't scared. The only thing is that water. That water is scary, bro. That water, you gotta have a boat. I don't trust no canoe. I don't trust no paddle shit. You gotta be in a boat.
You want an actual boat?
Yeah,
that's my friend. Why, you're afraid to tip over or something?
You never know.
They get carried
out.
out.
Bro, the water's rough. Man, be honest, I ain't scared of tip over. I know how to swim. The only thing I'm scared of is your food.
Right.
Food. I ain't trying to be nobody's food. I'm good. Man, I'll see you later, man.
All right, bro. Yeah, we'll talk, man. I'll hit you up after.
All right, boss.
All right, peace, man. Yeah, that's my friend. Some people in the chat like, yo, I'll blaze with you. he does, puff. So 816, how you doing? Where you calling from? Hello. Hi.
Hello?
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
I had an earpiece in and it wouldn't let me connect. I was like,
oh, no problem. Okay.
I'm JC from Missouri. So
Hey, welcome.
I didn't know if anybody had thought about, like, I agree that Brian killed Gabby, but like I think there's enough evidence almost to show that maybe his dad might have killed him after he like confessed to it at home, and that's what the campground and everything was for. And you know, Gabby lived with him for 2 years, so she was close to Brian's family. They lawyered up. I mean, technically it's Brian's lawyer, but I mean, it's the family lawyer. They lawyered up, and he's gone. There's absolutely no trace. The world's looking for him. Like, I don't know.
You're saying the parents got rid of him?
I think I do. Well, I don't know that. Well, that's one of my thoughts.
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking, like, there's no trace of him.
Do you have any thoughts about where he might be? Like any just speculation? Any? You think he's out in the jungle somewhere, out on the islands, or on the Appalachian Trail, on a boat, hiding somewhere?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
But then I was also wondering if anybody had discredited that sighting where the woman. So that was one of my theories. But a woman had said that she had seen 2 women in Gabby's van.
Oh.
Has that been discredited?
That is a good thing to bring up.
Could that been his sister?
I want to play that video for you guys after I take the calls. I don't know that she's been discredited, but that was kind of interesting because I watched it once and I didn't understand that people were thinking maybe that's the friend. And I don't want to point fingers to the friend or anything like that, but just saying that's what people were thinking.
Right, they thought it was that Rose.
Right, I got to find that link, man. It's on TikTok, right?
I'm almost wondering if it wasn't maybe like the sister or somebody and something went down from there, like a family argument. So those are my 2 theories. I don't know.
Okay.
I just feel like we should have already found him.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, just is he just a regular guy? He's just been gone all this time, evading law enforcement and FBI and all the searches.
Yeah, it just don't seem. I mean, it can happen. Of course, anything can happen. But
right.
I mean, they lived together for 2 years, but I don't know. But that's all I was thinking.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I'm trying to find that video, man. That was that's an interesting thing to bring up. 912, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mel, can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing?
Hey, this is Randy from Georgia.
Hey, Randy. I think you've called before, right?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Hey, welcome back.
Well, hey, thanks. With what you guys were just talking about, that's kind of interesting. I'm interested to hear about that because I haven't heard about 2 women being seen in the van. Was that in Florida, supposedly, or where?
That was at a campsite back when they were on their trip. I want to try to find it. I can't find it now. Somebody had sent it to me.
No rush, but whenever you get to it. Okay. But I wanted to talk a little bit about Cassie. Like when you were showing the coverage of the interview of her earlier when she had on the burgundy top, like something about the amount of eye contact she was giving makes me feel like it was like kind of forced, you know? I mean, when people have a conversation, generally they make, you know, a good amount of eye contact, but she was just like staring straight, like boring straight into the woman's eyes, which kind of made me feel like she was in her mind like, okay, keep looking, don't look away, because a couple times her eyes darted to the ground, and I thought maybe that, you know, she was overthinking it. But at the same time, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe her. She knows something one way or another. But it is quite possible that the parents are like, you know, we're not going to tell her anything. She's a blabbermouth, you know?
Right. So you think she knows more, family knows more? I mean,
I do. I think she was lying in that interview, especially because, I mean, they kind of caught her in a flub, but the amount of eye contact, she was just like staring straight into her eyes. And me, I would be nervous and I'd be looking around and I'd be like self-soothing, and she wasn't doing none of that. She was just very standing, her body language and the way she was just looking straight ahead. I feel like it was forced. I feel like it was a lie. But at the same time, the parents could also, not really want to tell her anything. Because when she said she hadn't spoken to him, did she really say since he had been back to Florida, or did somebody put those words into her mouth? Because I thought she just said that when the reporter asked, as a sister, what's the one thing that's, hardest for you? And she said that I can't talk to him.
Right.
So
the reporter said something about she hasn't spoken to her since she's been back, and so they fixed and took it out. But even with the woman, Cassie's own statements, it still just seems like they hadn't really talked. I mean, and that's something you would think maybe she would mention because it was after the camping thing, So I don't know.
Exactly, and especially because she wasn't forthright with that because they were. So going with that, she was basically told to cover up the camping trip, obviously, but when she said, and because knowing that she lied about camping, when she said that I can't talk to him, I took it as like maybe the dad won't let her talk to Brian because she's a blabbermouth, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling and giving your thoughts.
Oh, one last thing. I'm sorry. The
Yes.
Caller a few calls ago, she had said that she felt like the warrant for Brian was trumped up charges. Well, I mean, regardless if she believes in her opinion that he killed her or not, what he did by charging Gabby's credit card or debit card, which is proven he did it, that's a crime. So it's not a trumped up charge. He actually committed a crime by withdrawing money from her account, whether he knew allegedly she was alive or not.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Okay. Yo, I'm going to play this video. I guess I drank too much too fast. I got to use the restroom, but let me play this video that everybody's talking about and I'll be right back while it plays.
So
I played this once before, but listening to it again, I was like, oh, wow. So check it out.
In the Grand Teton National Park, August 23rd through the 25th. I called her and made a report yesterday, but the reason I'm making this is because I don't think the report stressed what I was trying to get across, the behavior of the women that I saw. We stayed at the Upper Teton View dispersed camping site on Federal Service Road 30310 in the lower campground. This is what I took a picture because I wanted to remember. That's what this was the next day. Our campsite was on the left. You can see the fifth wheel. There's a white van, and then our camper. The white van, it wasn't the same. The morning of the 24th, what happened was we woke up, and there was a van that had pulled in the middle of the night. I got up, I started our generator, I wanted coffee, I disturbed them, and well, at the time I thought it was just one because one woman exited the van. We had light conversation about the weather because it was very cool that morning. So we were talking about the weather. She had come from someplace hot. I went back in the camper, making breakfast, doing dishes, and just, occasionally looking out the window like you do. I noticed that I saw another woman exit the van. She stayed very close, stretched. She was all covered up. It was cold, so didn't think anything of it. But her sweatshirt went over her arms. Her hands were out. She wasn't behaving as if she was cold, though. Her hood was up. She kept kind of like pulling at the sides and keeping it so that her face couldn't be seen. When I went back out, because my coffee was ready, I had it set up outside. She hurried up and jumped back in the van. She hid a lot. They were very jumpy, very skittish. The description of the second woman, her height and weight would be that of Gabrielle Petito.
Did it play 2 times or once? Probably twice. Huh?
I made
right
the report
end,
just because they seemed so on edge. I know it was a dispersed site, and yeah, being a single mom and us being on a site like that, I was a little nervous, but it was still kind of friendly. I didn't feel too bad. There was a lot of other people around.
So we don't know who the lady is she's referring to, but supposedly, from the last time I heard, because I didn't listen now, that supposedly 2 ladies. I don't know. Weird.
They were very jumpy, very skittish. The one after I had exited, she would not come out of the van when me or my children were outside, where anybody else was outside, only when nobody else was around. I read yesterday that her parents are in Jackson right now. I don't know if this is something worth looking into. Like I said, I did file a report, but I don't think it stressed the behavior enough. Even at the time, I thought it was odd.
So for the people that are, okay, maybe I should start it again. This supposedly, it says here, did you guys see, and there's 2 more calls. After we play this video, I'm going to get to the 2 last callers and then we're done. Did you guys see the video of the lady saying she's seen the van? We're talking about the Gabby Petito van and Brian Laundrie, and 2 girls in it. And one girl tried to stay hidden, said the van pulled in the campsite. I saw an interview of a lady that had an interaction with Gabby and Brian. I want to say at co-op, this lady reports seeing 2 females in and out of the van. This is just what this person's claiming. I just thought it was an interesting clip that was sent. You know, if this was true, I don't know what it is. If it was true, who was the other lady?
So I was in the Grand Teton National Park August 23rd through the 25th. I called her and made a report yesterday, but the reason I'm making this is because I don't think the report stressed what I was trying to get across, the behavior of the women that I saw. We stayed at the Upper Teton View dispersed camping site on Federal Service Road 30310 in the lower campground. This is what I took a picture because I wanted to remember. That's what this was the next day. Our campsite was on the left. You can see the 5th wheel. There's a white van and then our camper. The white van, it wasn't the same. The morning of the 24th, what happened was we woke up and there was a van that had pulled in the middle of the night. I got up, I started our generator, I wanted coffee, I disturbed them, and well, at the time I thought it was just one because one woman exited the van. We had light conversation about the weather because it was very cool that morning. So we were talking about the weather. She had come from someplace hot. I went back in the camper, making breakfast, doing dishes, and just, occasionally looking out the window like you do. I noticed that I saw another woman exit the van. She stayed very close, stretched. She was all covered up. It was cold, so didn't think anything of it. But her sweatshirt went over her arms. Her hands were out. She wasn't behaving as if she was cold, though. Her hood was up. She kept kind of like pulling at the sides and keeping it so that her face couldn't be seen. When I went back out, because my coffee was ready, I had it set up outside. She hurried up and jumped back in the van. She hid a lot. They were very jumpy, very skittish. The description of the second woman, her height and weight would be that of Gabrielle Petito. I made the report just because they seemed so on edge. I know it was a dispersed site, and yeah, being a single mom and us being on a site like.
So yeah, I don't know what the dates are for that. It would be interesting to know the original source, like what's her actual, where did she actually post this, and a little bit more of that.
That I was a little nervous, but it was still kind of friendly. I didn't feel too bad. There was a lot of other people around, but they were very jumpy, very skittish. The one after I had exited, she would not come out of the van when me or my children were outside, where anybody else was outside, only when nobody else was around. I read yesterday that her parents are in Jackson right now. I don't know if this is something worth looking into. Like I said, I did file a report, but I don't think it stressed the behavior enough.
So I don't know. That's unconfirmed. That's what she says or claims she saw. Let me take these 2 callers. 908. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Jersey.
Jersey. Hey, thanks for holding, man.
Hey, no problem, brother. Quick, I do real quick. All right. First of all, I don't think police should be defunded. You should look at statistics where towns have police force, and because crime is so rampant, they actually have like a security team. It's a bunch of guys that look like cops, act like cops, but they're not cops. it's a terrible idea because shit goes wrong all the time. Excuse my language.
Right.
And also look at crimes on Indian reservations. How bad,
That's
they're trying to hire. So look at that. Also, I don't want to say numbers, but anybody can Google what statistics are about. Obviously, men are the number one killers of women, but not all white men kill women. So, I mean, just look at statistics. And let's see. Also, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get arrested at all because I dated someone who was white. I'm Puerto Rican. She was drinking, said a bunch of racist things to some people, and I decided to leave. She literally followed me, hit me with a beer bottle, hit me with her car.
Whoa. Where did she hit you with the beer bottle? Like on your head or
on my head? On back of my head. On back of my head. Ruined my $90 Guess shirt, button-up shirt.
Yeah, you might top my stories. Holy crap! Go ahead.
The cops came, and I got arrested. I had a busted lip. She hit me with the car, and when the bouncer's like, "Hey, man, she's the one that hit him," and they were like, "Oh no, our protocol is no matter what happens, you arrest the man, always." Now, anybody I've ever seen of color doesn't get away with that. I've seen in my personal experience from working security at jobs being a PI, it's always people of color don't get away with that. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I wrote down some notes real quick. Try to be real quick. Also, I heard somebody say no mother would ever turn in their son. That's a lie. My mother turned in my brother multiple times because my brother was a scumbag for years.
I've heard of stories of parents doing that too. Like turning in their kids.
Let's see. Also, we'll try I know you 3 minutes. I guess the moral of the story is also, I know maybe Brian could have, some people are saying maybe Brian could have snapped because she was hitting him. You're right. He could have snapped and he didn't mean to kill her. No, I don't know he's a narcissist. People are not, everybody calling are not experts. So they shouldn't be saying that either because good people can do bad things and people can snap. It happens all the time.
Right.
Because when I got arrested and the cop saw me, he goes, "You should have punched her in her face." He goes, "We're going to arrest you anyway, so you should have punched her in her face." That's what the cop told me. Let's see. Also, if you could check out, they're called the Cowboys or not Cowboys, but the Cal, C-A-L, or maybe the Bakersfield Boys, about the missing boys. If you can, if they can, they've been gone. They're not even getting half the publicity as Gabby has. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen Patrice O'Neal's comment or comedy about how white women are more are more valuable than anything else in the world. That comedy set. But yeah, she's got more publicity than tons of other girls that are missing, and I'm happy that you have actually talked about the Florida girl. I can't remember her name right now. That went missing because you're like you're one of the only YouTube people I've seen talk about it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. There's a bunch of stories I've covered too recently, of all different people.
I think that's totally crazy. I think that's it. I think I went over all my notes. That's it.
Okay.
I think you're doing a great
awesome,
job,
man.
brother.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Keep it up.
Appreciate the
work,
call.
brother.
You too, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. And I'm gonna talk a little. I'm gonna take the one more call, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit about that. Some of my thoughts, a little bit. 309. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome.
I'm calling. It's been a little bit of a lag here. I'm calling from Illinois.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a good show. I've been watching it for a while. So I have some things I wanted to bring up. I've looked at like Gabby's and Brian's Instagrams for one thing. Not much is posted, by Gabby herself after the 12th. Like there's one on the 12th, and with Brian there's one I think on the 13th. Domestic violence is one of the worst calls that a police officer can get, and it's one of the most dangerous. We've heard that, but it's a reality, and so they're going into this stop with this van on a domestic violence stop. And I thought it was unbelievable when they released the second camera footage, because one of the first things said to Brian when they walked up to him was, you know, we had a call that you slapped a woman, basically. If he is a narcissistic personality, which I believe he is, from dealing with a narcissist myself, it's the paybacks on that. I mean, they're going to pay you back for things that they feel are egregious towards you or towards them. So, I mean, right there, he knew he was going to do something with her and get rid of her. But I believe previously at the Moonflower, being with a narcissistic personality, he was trying to leave her then. He put her backpack on the back of the van. He took her phone. He walked away from the van to get her away from it, and then tried to get in and leave without her. He had been trying to leave her for a while. Then they get stopped. And then the police separate him. No contact order. Puts him up in a hotel, which we know these things. But do you think he just sat there? I think he called his dad. And I believe the abusive behavior is learned / taught. I think his dad said, look, this woman's dangerous for you. You're lucky you didn't get arrested. You need to get rid of her. And then the next thing you know, he's going to Florida, and they're putting all her stuff in a storage unit because it's dad's plan. That's what I think. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but and then you look back further into their Instagrams, they were in, he was in the Carlton Reserve a year ago. They literally left on their, so his scent is there. And if it isn't in the place that that dog's looking at now, then the family's gone and put things there to put the scent there if they just don't go there a couple times a year anyway. But
all right, well, I appreciate the call.
I think there's something a little wrong with Brian. There's one part in the first video where he's acting almost like schizophrenic and has an issue himself. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for your time.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Alrighty. So that's for the calls. The call thing, I'm gonna see how often I do it, but I am gonna usually leave it for the end where we take some calls. Some days we might do it, some days we might not. And somebody on Twitter says, let's see, the Justice for Guy Petito account said, if you look at his Instagram, Cali is one of his favorite places. There may be something to this. So we're talking about the whole Appalachian Trail sighting where this guy said he saw Brian and had a conversation with him, and he was driving a Ford F-150. I think the final thing I'll leave off on, the whole thing with, I hear a lot of people talking about, the race thing and what they say, the white, and I got to get to super chats. So I'll say what I have to say in the super chats, and the white woman missing syndrome and all this stuff. Okay. And I've had messages about it and comments, and some of the comments and some of the DMs, it seems very robotic. I don't know if it's a bot. A lot of people too seem, I guess, they're programmed, so they're just copying and pasting. They don't even think. But they're sending me this stuff, and sometimes I kind of look and I shake my head because I've been covering a lot of different people. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what race or whatever. But it's not even fabricated. You can look at years of content that I've done. And so when I see somebody like Joy, I forgot her name, Joy Reid, somebody that has 2 million followers on Twitter, telling people and I don't know if they're trying to make people feel bad or whatever. I mean, you yourself that has a platform already, if you're going to tell people about this and come down on people, why don't you share a missing person story on your thing, right? Why don't you go and support one of those stores or share a flyer? Some of these people that are saying that, and I'm not coming down on people, but it's funny when they say it to me, because when I see it in the comments, I'm like, huh? Like, do you realize, like, have you looked and seen the channel? And some of these people that are saying that, like I said, they're not watching the other videos. You know what I'm saying? If you're telling people why you're not doing this, why you're not doing that, why aren't you commenting on the other stories then? Why aren't you sharing those stories? One of the last persons that sent that message to me, Robotic, I replied back and I said, you should really look at my page. I mean, it's there. And what this person told me was F you. That's the kind of response I get from that. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of response I get from it. F you. All right. So I'm not too interested in getting caught up in this stuff. I know the conversation is going, but like people coming to me, and I'm not talking about the call or anything like that, but when they're telling me like, hey, why don't you cover more of this? I've been doing that. I've covered all kinds of people. I know it's a popular thing to say now, I guess, because people are just so robotic, but I've been doing that. How about you support? If that's how you feel about it, why don't you go support that? I also think it's very multi-layered. It's not just as simple as, oh, it's this and that. There's been stories that I've covered or I've looked at, and it's just a missing person flyer. Never heard nothing from mom. Never heard nothing from dad. Never heard nothing from the family. All it is, and that's why it's a great organization you can check out, which I think isn't it the Aware Foundation or something? Or let me find the proper name. I'm not interested in getting caught up in all that because I cover all people. It's just, to me, it's almost silly to even tell me that on my comments. It's a silly conversation. What is it? The Aware, let me see something. Foundation. Something like that. The Aware Foundation. And there's flyers there. But some situations, all there is a flyer. Nobody's come forward. Nobody's given any kind of story. I guess I can make a 10-second video. And some other people just advocate more for their kids. I mean, there's different, it's just not one or two things like that. It's very multi-layered. And then with Gabby, I think it's a horrible situation, but it can be used, you know, one, to bring attention to what happened to her, domestic violence, to missing people. Like, I don't think we have to look at it as such a negative, like, you know, oh, you guys aren't doing this, you guys aren't doing that. What happened to her is horrible. People in those situations should get out of them. Also, maybe we can bring awareness to other missing people. You know, say, isn't that what the Gabby Petito Foundation was about too, to help other families with resources? So, like, you know, I understand it, especially in the climate that we're in and everything like that. And somebody told me too about, like, is it the Native Americans or indigenous people? That's a whole complicated thing as well. I don't know well enough to really speak on that, but I saw a documentary a long time ago that some of those people, there's a whole bunch of like drugs and I'm not just saying those people, but like I saw a documentary, like there's a lot that goes on. And then somebody said too that they don't let outside resources come and help. Like it's only the Seminole police. And it's just very kind of like convoluted. I don't know, man. So yeah, I'm not the expert to speak on that, but if you're coming to this channel and be like, hey, you're not covering other people. We've been doing that for a long time. And I think a lot of it is because people are new to the channel. I don't even like think about like that. I don't worry about that. They're like, oh, is it this person, this color, just to do a video? We've done it. There's a long ass history about it on the channel. Let me read the super chats real quick. And I think I get the conversation, but these people, like this Joy woman that's complaining about it and saying all this stuff, are you out there doing anything for these people? Like as far as sharing a story, I've never, not that I know of, seen her share, retweet, nothing. How can you tell people what to do when you're not doing it yourself? I do it and I get it. The person tells me, F you. That's the response I get. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. So it just made me think about the caller, and I appreciate what he's saying because, I mean, it is interesting too, like the way that domestic violence situation was handled, but also you got to look at the area, how it's handled in other places. But I've never seen nothing handled like that as well. To his point, where the guy's just arrested. Let me look at this. But I'm not really interested either in getting into a whole like argument or debate or conversation. That's not what this is about anyway. It like to me it's almost irrelevant because I've been doing all people anyway. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Okay. Aki's Edge. Yosemite bugs me. Cop mentioned it to Brian. Could he have used Gabby's phone and accidentally texted her mom instead of this, discussing where to hide? Oh, I haven't heard of that. Sophie Loves. Is the father of Gabby really tweeting trying to get followers for his wife? I don't know. I know they made accounts. Maybe they're going to be using their platforms to, I don't know, advocate for their daughter. I'm not sure. Jackie, thank you for the super chat. Dog has Brian in a monster van waiting for that money. Sophie Loves, thank you for the super chat. They were an engaged couple who lived together. It's not illegal to use your fiance's/wife's card, especially if you have used it before to put funds in it. That's an interesting point there. But I think it was used after, I believe it was after the fact. I think, I don't remember the dates right, after her body was found. I believe. Could be wrong. I thought it was. Rick Ramberg, thank you for the super chat, man. Appreciate it. Cyber Girl, seeking attention on social media helps law enforcement way more than just calling law enforcement directly. Now, way that info could help Brian escape. Make it about you. Thanks for the super chat. Lily, I'm at the start of the live. Thank you for sharing the neighbor side of the story. Awesome. John Lee Riches is a menace. What the hell? Mel, love your ability to be fair. Thank you, Lily. Appreciate that. And I feel like with that story, like I said, maybe there's a history there. I'm somebody like, as a neighbor, I'm not nosy. If somebody needs help, I will. I've done it in the past. Like when we had a hurricane coming, it was really bad. It was years ago. And I went to like this FEMA thing they had set up in a shopping plaza. And they gave us like things of ice and like some little food and stuff like that because we didn't have power. And I went to my next door neighbor because they had kids and I gave him ice and just little small things like that. He really appreciated that. Like he's always been super nice, respected me. He moved out eventually. But I'm not like somebody that's like knocking on your door. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you got sugar? Hey, you got this? Hey, you got that? It's a little bit too much for me. I'm not staring at my windows, looking at what my neighbors are doing all day long. And, you know, whatever. I'm glad that I'm not in a drama place, living in a drama place. Cyber Girl just spotted a bald guy wearing a red Starfleet captain's uniform, piloting a starship. You think it could be him? Make it about you. Sophie, dear God, never let a jury trial. Dear God, never let me need a jury trial. These people are not my peers. Mel, don't listen to haters. You're amazing. The net is toxic. Yeah, my only thing with that, I'm really not worried about it, but it's funny when people come in. That's how you know a lot of these people are just robotic and they're not even thinking. They're just copy paste, or maybe they're just new. They don't know. Copy paste. They just say it to everybody. Randy, you've done a great work on many stories. I've gone through all your content. I'm a fan for life. Thank you. You're more informative than most national news. Thank you. I mean, I rely on the news too as well to get a lot of the information and articles, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for having facts. Appreciate it. And thank you for the new members. By the way, I got the new thing coming too. I got it today, the new emojis. So we'll see how it comes out. The guy sent it to me. So after this stream, I'm going to upload it. Let's go, Latina. Hey, I caught you this time. I didn't miss it. There's a couple of things here. I hope the cops stop and think, remember Gabby when they have domestic violence from now on. That should be the mantra. Check my message on Twitter. I'm going to look. I saw another message, but it was a lot of different stuff. Lo quiero muchísimo, Melvin. Usted es una persona que no vea ningún color de tez. Usted tiene un corazón inmenso. Thank you. Gracias. Appreciate that. Yeah, you guys know there's a lot of new people, so that's why I kind of reorganized the front page of YouTube so people that are new can see. But like I said, I think it's multi-layered. There's just stories that are just like this. This is like a thing that's like ongoing that has people engaged, people getting involved, people going on searches, people trying to solve it, people having sightings, like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's every story it's not going to be like this, and you can't force it either. I agree. Missing people should all get attention. And even from the Gabby thing, because like some people seem upset about it. Some people, how about that guy's body that was found because they were searching for Gabby? There was another guy, I can't remember his name, Robert Lowry, was it? I don't want to say the wrong name. I think it was Lowry. Stills. Yeah, Robert Lowry. How about that? I mean, how can people be upset about that? Maybe this brings more awareness. Maybe this gets people like, yeah, we need to look for this person. We need to get that person. You know, how about, I believe Daniel Robinson, that got a little bit more attention because of this. I mean, his body was found. Right? Let me see. Oh, I was supposed to check Twitter too. Let me check Twitter real quick if I can see it. I have a bunch of messages on Twitter, and some of them for some reason show up like under message requests. I'm not sure why it does that. I don't know if they have to follow me to do that. So it comes up in a whole nother different area. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read this. This is like 50 pictures or something. Oh yeah, that's a lot. Sophie says, I thought the neighbors were upset. I thought the neighbors upset was overkill at first, but now seeing your coverage, I would have flipped out too. That was so creepy. Love your lives. Yeah, that was kind of creepy too, man. I was like, let me just show the other side of the situation because this looks kind of crazy. I mean, I just think anybody that sees somebody walking up to the house on their driveway, you know, I don't know if there's other context to that story, and they're just standing with a camera, like looking up to your windows and stuff. I mean, I have a daughter. I mean, I would step out and like confront the person, be like, hey, is there something going on? Is there a problem? You know, because that's weird. There's been cars that pull up in front of the house, and you should really be careful how you handle that too, like on the street. And a lot of times it's not really an issue. It's just somebody like that couldn't park across the street, wanting to go to the other house kind of thing. But all that stuff, I look at kind of funny. Like if a car's just, or somebody's just in front of the house. There was a guy a while back, weeks ago, that all he was doing was like taking pictures for the power line stuff, because like they're installing new stuff, I guess underground or whatever. Yeah, and I came out the house and I was just like, hey, how you? I mean, I was friendly. I wasn't like confrontational, but I was like, because I could see he was in like his work uniform and hard hat. But I was like, hey, you know, what's going on? How you doing? Like, and then he just told me, oh yeah, we're here for this and that or whatever, you know. So yeah, if somebody was with a camera, I'm sitting here recording right now, somebody comes up and just like staring at him, you know what I'm saying? Of course I'm going to say something. Wow. Oh, I appreciate the super chat too, man. Thank you for that. The channel's far more objective than some others I've seen that entertain unverified loony theories. Well, sometimes people call in. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes people call in with some pretty far out stuff. Appreciate the calls though. Dog the bounty hunter. Let me do a quick little scan. I think that's it though for today. We do a quick little scan. Petito. High school photos. Petito and Laundrie. Oh no. Petito and Laundrie did not begin dating until after they graduated from Bayport Blue Point High School in New York. Newly obtained photos give a glimpse of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie as teenagers, years before their ill-fated cross-country road trip. The images show Petito in her sophomore year and Laundrie as a junior in Bayport Blue. Oh yeah, we've seen this. They kind of cropped it, but I think he's wearing like a Batman thing. Petito and Laundrie began dating in March 2019, according to an Instagram post from Petito celebrating their 1-year anniversary. A store owner near their Long Island hometown told Fox News last month that Petito had been coming into his shop since she was 12, but she never brought Laundrie. That's kind of weird. Oh, maybe it's not weird. I guess not. When she showed up to buy Laundrie a shirt before their fatal road trip, workers didn't even know they were dating. Oh. On July 2nd, 2020, Petito shared a photo of her and Laundrie that she said had been taken on their first date. Brian asked me to marry him. I remember too when I was young, there was, I forgot what girl. I think I remember her name. I'm not gonna say her name. We were talking about getting married, just off of just some craziness. We didn't last long at all. We're talking about getting married and buying like some really cheap rings, some little rinky dink thing. Look at the Publix guy in Tampa that killed all the coworkers in their rental house. You have to be careful. It's true. Yeah, we just talked about that a little bit. I showed the video. I mean, you shit people, man. I'm telling you, I wish I could like get a sponsor from Amazon or whatever, the Ring doorbells, but they don't do sponsors. And I don't have one now. I'm gonna get one for sure. Just calling me now. I'm gonna get one, a camera thing to have outside. I mean, I have an alarm and I have other things. You gotta have something, man. You gotta have something in the house, because nowadays there was another story I heard recently. Some guy busted in the house and he had like a sword or something, and he started like cutting the homeowner. And I think there was a kid and somebody else. Let me see. I don't know if I'll be able to pop it up or not. I heard of this story, but no, I don't think I can find it. Somebody told me this story the other day. Samurai sword, but this was in July. Apparently, this is not that weird of an occurrence. People have done this different years. I don't know which one the person was telling me about, but I don't know. But yeah, you gotta have something, man. Have something in the house for sure. Yeah, covered Mia yesterday, the maintenance guy. What was crazy about that? I mean, obviously the whole horrible situation, but the family actually spoke to the killer. Like, he was coming out from her apartment area, like from the back window area. They believe he held her against her will. And police even spoke to him that day and then let him go. I guess they didn't have enough. And that guy had done it before with a different woman. I think it was March this year, where he was trying to hit on the woman. The woman turned him down, and so this guy throws a weight through the window. And they had we actually saw the video and pictures of that. So, as Prince said, I got lots of rifles and pistols along with 6 cameras. Tony Montana. Crazy, man. And but yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys coming through. I took somewhat of a break yesterday. I just see all these horrible things happening, man, to people and their kids. You know, even though they're a little bit older, it's still their kid. I look at my daughter like a baby. She's 4, but she doesn't want to be called a baby. But she's like, okay, I'm your baby. But I spent time with her yesterday. Went to the park, got some ice cream, because I was like, damn, man, I've been so caught up with this YouTube stuff. It's the weekend. Go out, take a break. And people are always telling me, parents that have older kids are like, those times pass by so fast, you know, in the blink of an eye. And you really never know what can happen. You know, we're covering this stuff every day, so you see all the insanity happening every day. You never know what could happen. When's going to be the last time, you know? So spend some time with her. But yeah, man, you guys be safe. Get some sleep. Get some rest. We'll see what happens tomorrow. You know, we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right. I do too. Gun, security, 2 roommates, barking dog. Hey, you got everything, huh? I have a 13-year-old daughter. I miss her being little. Yeah, anytime I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they hear my daughter, she's like, oh, man, I wish my kid was that small. All the parents tell me, like, yo, appreciate the time right now, man, because when they get older and they're teenagers, oh, my God. All right, man. Later, guys. Peace. Take care. Kind regards to when you Google Lens the well in the middle of the Laundrie's backyard from the recent drone footage today, it comes up as a bunker. Ooh, might have to look into that.